Hello, hello. My name is Ashlee, and welcome to my channel. Tonight, we are going to react to the mayoral debate, the NYC mayoral debate. I'm really excited. I saw some of it, but I went to a friend's house last night and watched The Witch. That was my first time watching The Witch, and it was really great. But I went to my friend's house and watched that, and then so I only saw the first half of the mayoral debate, but that's what we're going to do today. And then we're going to make some signs and just going to hang out and have some fun on a Friday night. So that's what we're doing today. But before we get into it, if you could like and subscribe and turn on post notifications and all the things. I have tons of links in my description. And yeah, all right, let's get into it. So I wanted to first look at some other signs. I'm not really sure what I want to write. Honestly, I've been trying to think about it all day, but I have no idea. So I wanted to look at some of other people's stuff. So this is actually from Don Lemon. Now listen, I'm not like the biggest Don Lemon fan, okay? He's not like usually my cup of tea, but he has been out at all the protests going live. And he was on Waj's Substack the other day, and he's starting to grow on me. But he posted these pictures from, I think this is from Chicago. I think he was in Chicago. But he's been going live in like Chicago and Portland lately. So I've been watching some of those. I've been mainly watching Status Quo, but I've seen some of his stuff recently. So I was just kind of looking at these. They're all so pretty. I'm just like, gosh, I'm just not the best at like artsy things. I try and like I really want to be good at them, but I just feel like I'm not. Okay. So we have, I keep going back and forth. Okay, so we have All You Fascists Bound to Lose. I love that one. I think that one's great. Let's see what else we have. We have Fuck Ice. I love that one. What else? You Are Mass Kidnappers. I really do like that. Yeah, mine's gonna be more like, mine's probably not gonna be as pretty. I try so hard, but tomorrow it's apparently supposed to rain, and so I have tons of tape to tape it up, because I've actually, the first Snow Kings protest, it rained here, and I learned the hard way, and my sign was completely done by the end of it. So ever since, I have been wrapping all of my protest signs in tape. And then I have like this little ruler that I'm gonna use to do that, because if you just hold like this, sometimes it's hard, so you gotta do like this. Also, I'm taping it, so that's not the issue. I have lots of protest logistics that I like live by now. So if you make a sign and you put like marker on it, right, then you always want to have something to hold it with on your bottom, because I've done that before too, where you're just like holding a sign like this and then you get marker all over your hands. Anyway, not the point, just saying. But I'm gonna tape mine, so that's not gonna be an issue, but I'm still gonna use this little ruler. It was only 99 cents instead of getting like like a block of wood or something. So yeah, defend the Constitution, no kings. I like that. Back to this. Are you going downtown, Forest Park, or both? I'm gonna go to the one downtown, because I think that's where a lot of the people who like I know are gonna be. So it's in Keener Plaza, and then I know there's like a festival beforehand, and then there's the march, but I'm not really sure what the festival is. But yeah, that's St. Louis. But that's probably where I'm going to be. Because I didn't realize that there was one in Forest Park. Wow. That's cool, though. There's a lot. I know there's a lot everywhere, honestly. But I don't know. For my sign, I was thinking maybe just like ice out of our streets. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Oh. Whoopsie, there's Waj. I love Waj. He's one of my favorite people to watch. Oh, this one said F ice, but love thy neighbor. I like that. That's nice. That one's really pretty. I like all the stickers. Okay. Love not hate makes America great. I do like that too. We the people. That's ACLU. Ice. People are getting really creative, and I really love it. Ice puts lettuce and tomatoes on their tacos. Okay, don't annoy Illinois. Yeah, so this is in Chicago. No ice, no troops. Play nice. Okay. We stand with immigrant families. Oh, I like that one. I like that. I love immigrants. They make better food. The only ice we need. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Okay, that one's a really good one, but it's very long. Yeah, these are cool. I think Don Lemon, there was also, okay. Why is it not taking me to his thing? What is happening? I have no idea what's going on. Okay. I thought there was another. Oh, maybe it's because I'm on his profile. Duh. There was another post he had. Oh, here we go. I didn't recite with liberty and justice for all every morning for it to stop including my people in 2025. Oh, why do I keep doing that? Okay. Ew. Oh. Wait, that was like a pro-ICE protester. Ew. She says, we love ICE, stand proud. Okay, sure, lady. Garage sale ICE. We demand reasonable pathways to citizenship for our immigrant neighbors. That's cute. ICE out. The people united will defend immigrant families. I like that one. ICE out of Chicago. I like that. ICE out. Yeah, ICE out is good. Because, like, ICE out of our streets is, like, long. And sometimes it's hard to put it all on. I'm, like, one of those people, and I've always been this way ever since I was young. Like, when you write things, I write really big block letters, and then I run out of... I run out of space. And so, I'm not the most, like... I'm not the best at this, you know? Okay. So, that's that one influencer guy that's like been going to every protest. So yeah, there's this guy, and he's been going to like every single protest, and he's trying to be like an agitator. He's a right-wing influencer, and he was actually at the like Antifa roundtable thing that they had, and now he's going out to protest, trying to be like an agitator. And every time he comes, everyone always pushes him out. Yeah, crazy. Okay. All right, so I think I'm just gonna start watching the NYC debate now. I'm excited for the poster. I think I'm gonna do like ICE really big, and then like out of our streets. I'm gonna do that. Okay. All right, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Okay. I was trying to do it like this so everyone could see me like making it. So I don't know. We'll see. But okay. Let's watch this. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Is it so like nerdy that I'm sitting here and watching the mayoral debate for a state I don't even live in on a Friday night?
Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo, senior politics editor at Politico, Sally Goldenberg, and Telemundo 47 anchor Rosarena Breton. This is a 2-hour debate live on all NBC New York and Telemundo 47 streaming and digital platforms, Politico.com, Telexitos, and YouTube. The first hour is also live on Channel 4 and Telemundo 47. We do have a few rules for the candidates for traditional.
Yeah, Emma said that like the first hour she watched like on Channel 4, and then the second hour she had to go to YouTube and watch it. And so it's kind of weird how they set this up. But yeah, I was watching the Majority Report's reaction this morning.
Question and answer, you will have 1 minute to respond, and we'll offer 30-second rebuttals at the moderator's discretion. We'll also be asking questions where we will be looking for shorter answers. We also reserve the right to cut off your microphone if you ignore the rules. With candidates, you know we don't want to do that. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the audience to hear everything you have to say. Good luck. We'll begin with Melissa Russo.
Thank you, David, and good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. We begin tonight by asking you to do what every mayor dreams of, and that is to write your own headlines. Imagine it's January 2027 and you have been in office for exactly 1 year. We would like you to quickly give us one headline about what you think your biggest accomplishment will have been in year number 1. We'll begin with you, Mr. Cuomo.
First, thank you very much for sponsoring the debate and having all of us. The one headline, how many characters in the headline?
You're familiar with headline length.
Rent down, comma, crime down, comma, education scores up, comma, more jobs in New York City.
Now we're getting maybe a little over the average headline length.
Okay, so the parts that I have seen of this, I gotta say, I really love like that. That a lot of the like moderators actually push back on Cuomo because God, he's like, I already don't like him, but he's just like so unlikable. It's insane. Like, it's insane how unlikable he is. He's horrible.
But
optimism high.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
Curtis Sliwa is without his iconic red beret because I'm talking to the people of New York City about the really serious issues of
so
affordability,
insane.
the cost of living, and obviously what I've spent most of my life doing, which is public safety in the streets and the subways.
We would love a headline from you. What will your headline be, your big headline in year number 1 as mayor?
Curtis Sliwa exceeds all expectations and looks very mayoral tonight.
Mr. Mamdani, you've had some time to think about it now. What's your headline?
It's a pleasure to be here, first of all, and I really want to thank the moderators and the opportunity to speak directly to New Yorkers about this moment in time and our opportunity to transform the most expensive city in the United States of America.
Like,
the headline would read in about a year, Mamdani continues to take on Trump, delivers on affordability agenda for New Yorkers.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Sally?
Thank you, Melissa. We're going to talk about leadership. Voters have reservations about all three of you as chief executive of New York City, a city with roughly 300,000 employees and a budget bigger than many countries. We have questions for each of you, and Mr. Cuomo, we will begin with you. As a former governor of New York, you obviously have the management experience, but you resigned from office amid sexual harassment and COVID-related scandals. Why should voters now trust that you have the character to be mayor? You have 1 minute.
Good. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the question. First, you are right. I left office. There was a report that was done that had allegations of harassment. I said at the time it was a political report and that there was no basis to it.
He's lying.
It was then sent to 5 district attorneys. They all reviewed it. They found nothing. It was then litigated for 5 years. I was dropped from the cases. So none of that came to anything. When it comes to executive experience, I've run the Department of Housing and Urban Development, built housing all across the nation. I was governor for 11 years. The budget is double what it is in New York City, and I got government to work. I passed groundbreaking laws, minimum wage, paid family leave, built projects that had never been built before. This is no job for on-the-job training. And if you look at the failed mayors, they're ones that had no management experience. Don't do it again.
Thank you. Rosarina?
Thank you, Sally.
He keeps doing this, but he's literally a Nepo baby. Like, he's literally a Nepo baby. And I love how they keep saying he doesn't have any experience. He's never had a job. He's literally a state assemblyman. He's literally a state assemblyman. Like, is that not a job? Like, what are you saying? Like, this is ridiculous.
In the theme of leadership, Mr. Mamdani, you work as a foreclosure prevention counselor for winning seat in the state assembly. You have no substantial management experience. How are you ready to lead the nation's largest and greatest city in the world in 1 day? You have a minute.
You know, I have the experience of having served in the New York State Assembly for 5 years and watching a broken political system, the experience of seeing a governor in Andrew Cuomo who would rather have served his billionaire donors and the working class New Yorkers who voted for him, and the experience amidst all of that of fighting and winning for working class taxi drivers to free them from predatory debt and delivering the first free bus lines in New York City history, and working with unions and working class New Yorkers to finally raise taxes just that little bit on Mr. Cuomo's donors to start to fully fund our public school. And more than that, I have the experience of being a New Yorker, someone who has actually paid rent in the city before I ran for mayor, someone who has had to wait for a bus that never came, someone who actually buys his groceries in this same city. And what all of that experience has shown me, which Mr. Cuomo can't seem to understand.
I've been on a bus in NYC and I think they're really nice. Oh, shit. I thought it was really nice. I don't know, but I'm sure they could be better. But I guess just like from my point of view, the public transit in New York City is so cool. And I wish we had it here in St. Louis, but we don't. And they're like getting rid of the plan to make more of it. So very upsetting, honestly. But no, yeah.
Understand is that it is far too expensive and far too hard for New Yorkers to afford to live in this city. And the definition of experience is not doing the same thing again and again and hoping for a different result. That's actually the definition of insanity.
Thank you, Mr. Mandani.
If I can, I think I was invoked. Yes. In other words, what the Assemblyman said is he has no experience. And this is not a job for someone who has no management experience to run 300,000 people, no financial experience to run $115 billion budget. He literally has never had a job.
That's
on
not
his resume,
true.
it says he interned for his mother. This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic.
I was watching The Leftist Mafia last night, and when I got home from my friend's house, and Matt Bender was like, that line right there from Cuomo reminded him of when Eric Adams was like, New York, where you can go grab a slice of pizza one day and then the next day a plane could could fly into the Twin Towers. And it was like the most insane, I'm not going to say it's the most insane thing Eric Adams has ever said, because Eric Adams says insane shit every day of his life, but it was just like a wild thing to say, as if like that happens all the time in New York. Yeah, that was a wild statement from Eric Adams, but that does that reminded me of it too, so I wanted to bring it up because I thought that was hilarious.
You don't know what you're doing,
Cuomo.
people could die.
Mr. Mamdani, want to respond?
And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
May I? First, what you said was totally false, as you know.
Which part was false?
During COVID, everyone did whatever they could in this state. And there have been numerous investigations where they've gone through it and they said we followed federal guidance, but yes, people died during COVID, and my heart breaks for everyone that died in this state and across this nation.
But just to be clear, just to fact check that, there is a criminal investigation reportedly underway at the DOJ about your testimony to Congress about your nursing home record.
Yeah, but that is a political issue with the Congress. They made a referral, which has gone absolutely nowhere. But there have been multiple investigations where the DOJ found that the nursing home investigation was politically motivated.
Okay, we're going to move on. We might have time to come back to it. I do need to move on.
Yeah, may I just finish my rebuttal? But the Assemblyman still says he has no experience to do the job.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Sliwa, as founder of the Guardian Angels and as a radio host, you've been a well-known figure in New York City for decades, but you also lack substantial management experience. So how are you prepared to be the chief executive officer of New York City? You have 1 minute, Mr. Sliwa.
First of all, I created the Guardian Angels to provide public safety in the subways and streets when government was incapable of doing so. I didn't do it to get a title or a paycheck. Secondarily, I don't declare myself to be all-knowing. I will hire the very brightest and best in their fields who have dedicated their lives to trying to improve the city of New York or the state or the federal government or the private sector. But what I will say is, thank God I'm not a professional politician. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of no cash bail, which has been a disaster. We have the architect and the apprentice here of Raise the Age. My own son was almost killed because of that in a gang attack. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of Close Rikers Island, which would just release criminals in the street. Thank God I'm not a professional politician, because they have helped create this crime crisis in the city that we face, and I will
Thank you,
resolve.
Mr. Sliwa.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. Candidates, President Trump has expressed intense interest in this election and in all of you personally. Mr. Mamdani, the president called you, quote, my little communist. Mr. Sliwa, he said you're, quote, not exactly prime time. Mr. Cuomo, he has been critical of you, but said you have always gotten along. The president has threatened to cut federal funds to the city. And just yesterday, he killed a...
It's so funny. It's so funny because it's so funny because Cuomo keeps being like, I can fight Trump. I'm the only one who can fight Trump. And yet it's like, yeah, well, we've always gotten along. Like, we're friendly. Oh my God, like Trump is not even scared of you, man. Trump is not scared of you. Come on.
Gateway project, the tunnel connecting New York to New Jersey. You've all promised to resist him in some way. What would you say in your first official call with the president to set the tone for your relationship moving forward? We'll give you a minute for this. We'll start with you, Mr. Mamdani.
I would make it clear to the president that I am willing to not only speak to him, but to work with him if it means delivering on lowering the cost of living for New Yorkers. That's something that he ran his presidential campaign on, and yet all he's been able to deliver thus far has been prosecuting his political enemies and trying to enact the largest deportation program in American history. And what distinguishes me from Andrew Cuomo is the fact that he has gotten on the phone with that same president, not asking him how to work together to help New Yorkers, or not telling him that he would refuse to back down to protect those New Yorkers, but instead asking him how to win this race. That's something I can do myself. I don't need the president's assistance for. And what I tell the president is if he ever wants to come for New Yorkers in the way that he has been, he's going to have to get through me as the next mayor of this city.
All right, Mr. Cuomo, we'll give you a little extra time, but I'd like you to answer this question as well, what your first conversation with the president would be like.
Okay. First, I never had a conversation with the president that the assemblyman was talking about. But he's has a distant relationship with the truth. I would say to the president in the first conversation, look, we have had many, many battles. We fought together every day during COVID. And the battles were bloody. And I'd like to avoid them. If you come after New York, you know what I'm going to do. You know it's going to be ugly. And my chances are almost 50-50, even though you're the president. I'd like to work...
Like, is it just me, or is like this not convincing at all? Like, this is not convincing at all. I'm sorry. No one is convinced by this. Like, no one is convinced by this. I'm sorry, but nobody, like, what are you saying? You're like, you know what I'm going to do? It might be 50-50, but you know what I'm going to do? No, we don't know what you're going to do. No, you haven't answered this question at all. You're just saying words. You're just saying words. They don't even mean anything.
With you, I think we can do good things together, but number one, I will fight you every step of the way if you try to hurt New York.
Unless he weaponizes the justice system to go after the attorney general of this state, in which case you'll issue a statement that doesn't even name the president. And no matter what you think about Donald Trump, you know that not even being able to name him is an act of cowardice. And that's what we would see from Donald Trump's puppet on the right.
I do want to get Mr. Sliwa, but Mr. Cuomo, I'll give you a few seconds to respond to that.
Yeah, I said political weaponization of the justice system is wrong. Both sides do it. It's wrong when Donald Trump does it. It's wrong when they did it to Comey. It's wrong when Comey did it to Hillary.
Okay.
It was wrong when it happened to Tish James.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. I want to give Mr. Sliwa a chance to answer this. Mr. Sliwa, your first official conversation with the president, what would you say to set the tone?
Well, first of all, there's high levels of testosterone in this room. I've had a love-hate relationship with Donald Trump that goes back over 30 years. But I know one thing. We have Andrew Cuomo. We have Zoran Mamdani. They want to take on Donald Trump. Look, you can be tough, but you can't be tough if it's going to cost people desperately needed federal funds. Zoran Mamdani, the president, has already said it's going to take $7 billion out of the budget right from the start if you're elected mayor.
He's already doing it.
People are going to suffer in this city. People who need those federal funds. What I would do is sit and negotiate. I would say, look, Mr. President, we need that Gateway Tunnel. It moves millions of people from Washington, D.C. to Boston. But take away the Q train project. We don't need those three stations going from...
So, actually, I I saw something about this online, but apparently I think the Q train goes to Harlem, and so they're just like, I hate this. I think this is so stupid. Like, I feel like public transit needs to be like, I feel like so many issues could be solved if we just had like public transit in this country. And I just really wish that we would just invest so much in public transit because we need it. But especially in New York, I feel like this is so dumb, because why would you not? Like, that's one of the best parts about New York is the subway. And I guess they're trying not to have one in Harlem. I think they were supposed to get that, but then I feel like this is a part of what Donald Trump was taking away. And so he is taking money away from them right now. And he is threatening that right now, even when Zoran's not even in office, and he'll do it if Cuomo's there. He'll do it if Siwa's there. It doesn't matter. He's going to take their money no matter what, because he's threatening to do it to everyone. But yeah, the Q train is in Harlem from what I believe. And so honestly, I mean, we all know Curtis Lewa is racist. He literally just like, they heard someone speaking. He assaulted him and his little brigade, assaulted a man in the middle of Times. I think it was in the middle of Times Square, in the middle of New York, on Fox News, live on Fox News. Assaulted him and his little brigade, assaulted a man because he was speaking Spanish. So, you know, that's where he lies. He's a lunatic.
From 96th Street to 125th. It's not a necessity. Sit with the president and whoever he delegates and try to negotiate. But if you try to get tough with Trump, the only people who are going to suffer from that are the people of New York City.
Okay, Mr. Sleewa, thank you. Brief response, Mr. Mamdani.
You know, Mr. Trump is already suspending infrastructure grants to this city, and he's doing it in a blatant act of political retribution. And what it requires is leadership that will stand up to him. And I disagree with Mr. Sleewa. We do need to extend the 2nd Avenue subway to 125th Street. It was a promise made to Harlemites decades ago.
Okay.
It's time to actually fulfill it.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Okay, quick question for each of you. Mr. Cuomo, you've been asked this before.
He mentioned my name. When I get a chance to respond.
Well, we got a lot of ground to cover, Mr. Sleewa.
When was the last time you spoke with President Trump, Mr. Cuomo? You've been asked this before, and the last time you said you couldn't remember?
I believe it was during his assassination attempt.
So last year in 2024. Mr. Sleewa, when was the last time you spoke with President Trump?
Oh, many years ago, we were receiving awards. I was praising him for saving the annual Veterans Day parade. Those were the conversations that I had with him. Can I please respond? I was asked about the Q train.
Okay, real quick.
Mr. Mamdani?
I am the mayor of mass transit. We do not need a Q train. I'm in the subways every day. We have more than a capable system of transporting people.
Thank you, Mr. Sleewa.
The infrastructure needs to be fixed in the system that we have.
Mr. Mamdani, have you ever spoken with President Trump?
No.
Okay, there you go. Sally.
Thank you. Mr. Cuomo, follow up to that. President Trump has spoken positively about you and your candidacy, even as his Justice Department, as we've noted, is reportedly investigating you for allegations you lied to Congress over your COVID record. Given that dynamic, how would you be able to stand up to this White House? How are you not compromised? And just take into account that New Yorkers are troubled by what they view as a compromised relationship the current outgoing mayor has with the president.
Yeah, first you're wrong when you say there's any investigation of me. That's not true.
They're not wrong. Stop lying.
I've heard
He's
absolutely
lying.
nothing. Congress did a press release. They said they sent a letter to the Department of Justice, which they do routinely to generate press, and that's what that is. I fought Donald Trump. He investigated me repeatedly with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice Inspector General said that it was actually politically motivated. That does not back me up. When I'm fighting for New York, I am not going to stop. And I'll tell you something else. If the Assemblyman is elected mayor, Donald Trump will take over New York City, and it will be Mayor Trump who runs New York City.
We have to move on to a very quick follow-up, yes or no. You're saying unequivocally the Justice Department is not investigating you, correct?
I've heard absolutely nothing.
They could be, and you might not have heard it, but okay, we'll move on. David?
Okay, thanks, Sally.
I love the moderator.
That is
Okay,
virtually impossible, by the way.
Okay.
But Mr.
All
Cuomo,
right.
you did put out an ad the day after the news first broke in the New York Times that you were under investigation, calling it a political investigation, saying they were coming after you
He's
as
just
they had
nodding
to,
and smiling. I love
after
it.
other Democratic politicians. You haven't denied this
That the
previously.
Republican Congress was.
You haven't
Yes,
denied
I believe
this
they
previously.
play politics with the justice system.
Okay.
I believe the Republican Congress does it. I believe Donald
Okay.
Trump does it. I believe the
Okay.
Democrats do it. And that's why I think people are sick and
Thank you,
tired
Mr.
of
Thank
the justice system and the politics.
If you
thank you, Mr.
think that
Cuomo.
there's no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, then that's the candidate for you. If you think it's time to have a Democratic Party that actually stands up to Donald Trump and his billionaire-backed
All right,
assault
thank
on
you.
working people,
Well, first of
Thank you,
that's
Mr.
the candidate.
Mamdani.
You're
Candidates, we
not,
have
you're not a Democrat,
Candidates,
right?
we
You're
have-
not a Democrat. You're a Democratic
All right,
socialist.
candidates, we have
You didn't
other
vote
ground-
for Kamala Harris, right?
Yes, he
We have
did.
other ground to cover. No, we have other
no,
ground to
that's-
cover.
that's an
will circle back
incendiary
that.
charge. I wanna be very-
You may have a chance to address it, but
Yeah.
we do.
I'll be
we
very-
have
Let
a
him
lot of
address
issues to
it.
get to with New Yorkers, Mr. Mamdani.
I'll be very quick.
Let me-
You didn't say leave it blank in the Kamala
I'll be very
campaign?
quick. I said leave it blank in the presidential primary because
Exactly.
primaries are a place to air dissent. And like
Okay.
many Americans, I was horrified
Okay,
by the
Mr.
Israeli
Mamdani,
genocide
all
of
right.
Palestinians.
Okay.
And if you want to look for me on the ballot, you'll find me as the
Okay,
Democrat.
Mr. Mamdani, thank you. Gentlemen, we have
Love
to
that.
move on. This week, the world is reacting to President Trump's Israel-Hamas peace deal and the relief.
Okay, I loved that. I love that when he was like, "I'm the Democrat." If you look on the ballot, I'm the Democrat, because it's so. First of all, it's so ridiculous that Cuomo is still even running. That he's like running as an independent now. It's insane. It's stupid. But also like he's more of a like. And listen, I don't Democrat whatever, but. Like, he's more of a Democrat than Cuomo is. Like, Cuomo is just Republican light. That is just, like, and that's what he was saying. Cuomo is just Republican light. He's like good friend. I'm not going to say good friends with Donald Trump, but, like, he's cordial with Donald Trump. People don't want that. Like, that looks bad for him. And so it's just so wild. But a lot of people were, like, something else, but a lot of people were criticizing this because they spent after this they're gonna spend like the rest of the hour of this first hour on Israel Palestine for a New York mayoral debate, and this is just so insane that they spend this amount of time on it. There are some funny parts in it though, but it's just crazy. Like it's actually insane.
Release of the hostages, and many are cautiously optimistic about a lasting peace. Of course, the mayor has no direct role in foreign affairs, and we certainly have a lot of questions for you about city matters. But this war has been a major topic in the campaign, and there are criticisms about your positions in the past and how you envision leading on these issues as mayor. So we have questions for all of you, but first for Mr. Mamdani, because of something you said that's been generating headlines in the news today as we come into the debate yesterday on Fox News. You were asked if Hamas should lay down its weapons, key to the peace plan and ceasefire. And some say they found your answer confusing. You said, quote, "I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety and the fact that anything has to abide by international law."
I think
that
that's
applies
a good
to Hamas,
answer.
and that applies to the Israeli military. So for the
Yes.
voters tuning in tonight, Mr. Mamdani, what do you believe about Hamas and how lasting peace will be achieved? We know it's a complicated matter, but we'd like you to keep your answer to a minute if you could.
Of course,
so
I believe
insane.
that they
That's
should
so
lay down their
insane.
arms. I'm proud
It's
to be
complicated. We
one of
keep
the
it
first
under a
elected
minute.
officials in this state who called for a ceasefire. And calling for a ceasefire means seizing fire. That means all parties have to cease fire and put down their weapons. And the reason that we call for that is not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid.
Yes.
I, like many New Yorkers, am hopeful that this ceasefire will hold. I'm hopeful that it is durable. I'm hopeful that it is just. And for it to be just, we also have to ensure that it addresses the conditions that preceded this. Conditions like occupation, like the siege, and apartheid. And that is what I'm hopeful for.
Yeah. If I may, that means
Excuse
from
me,
the
excuse
river
me.
to the sea.
I'm being marginalized
When
out of this.
I'm sorry. When
I
you,
think it's a debate of three.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Andrew. It's
Well,
a
I'm just
debate
saying-
of three. Do we?
Curtis Lewa realizing he's the third wheel. I'm being marginalized. This is a three-person debate here. Excuse me. Excuse me.
acknowledge that? 3 people?
Mr. Sliwa, go ahead, and we'll give you a second. Go ahead,
3
Mr. Sliwa.
people.
The President of the United States should have been applauded by you, Zoran Mandami, and you, Andrew Cuomo.
Oh, God.
On the day that...
Why? Also, I'm sure Cuomo did applaud him, okay? I think that Zoran had a really good answer about this on Fox News, but he was basically saying, like, I am not going to give him praise right now because we don't even know if this is going to stick. He's just done a lot of like pomp and circumstance around this to get tons of media and to try to get, because he wants the praise. He likes the praise. I also think he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize, but like Israel has already violated the ceasefire many, many times. And it's still like kind of going through, but now they're trying to come up with all these excuses not to keep going with the ceasefire. So while it's good that they're not being as destructive as they were, and I'm glad that they're not, and I'm glad that they're starting to let aid in, it's not definite yet. And I think to be cautious about giving him any praise is a good thing, and to see how this works out, because this could also work out in a way where Donald Trump and Jared Kushner are trying to develop the land and end up making making Palestine like theirs in a way. And I am nervous about that. I'm nervous about them trying to, trying to buy up land over there and develop over there, because I think that's what Jared Kushner wants to do. Also, apparently, like, I know I saw something online. They're still like they took over, like this deal gives a little, I think gives more. I don't know if it's the deal or if Israel's just doing this, but they encroached on a lot more land. So like there are some parts of Palestine that they're like they can't go back to. And so I don't know. I'm being cautious about giving him praise too. I think that I think it's a little premature to act like everything is just totally fine now. I think there needs to be justice. I think that there needs to be trials. I think that people need to be held accountable. And I'm worried that that's not going to happen. So while I'm really happy and I'm really, really glad that like the bombardment and hopefully the famine is starting to end, and I'm really thankful for that, I still am worried about the future, and I think that that's a normal thing, you know? Yeah.
He brought together that international coalition that met in Egypt, that came from the Middle East and the Persian Gulf. I certainly applauded him for bringing peace to Gaza and trying to end the hostilities in the war between the Israelis and Hamas, so there can be peace between the Israelis and peace between the Palestinians. But you seem, Zoran, to be incapable of praising our president. And Andrew, you were incapable of praising our president.
Gentlemen, we have
Give credit where credit is due. He's brought peace to Gaza.
Yeah, gentlemen, we want to hear everything you have to say. We have other questions on this matter. Mr. Cuomo, please, brief response, because we do have other questions on this issue that you may be able to address. Go ahead.
I did applaud President Trump and his administration. I think it was a great accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response.
Okay, I was literally driving to my friend's house listening to Hassan. And it was hilarious. It was so funny. We're going to watch Hassan's reaction to this, but it was so funny. I was in the car and I was driving. And I was like listening, and I was like, oh my God. I started like screaming because I thought this was so hilarious. Because God, I always forget how to say his name, even though I love him and I saw him like live John Marco, or I think it's John Marco, right? It's not G Marco. It's like John Marco. I've seen him live here in St. Louis. He's amazing. He's so funny. I got to meet him. He's really cool. But he was on Hassan's show last night, and they were reacting to this together. And Hassan beforehand was like, "Oh, he's totally gonna mention me." He did this whole like on 9/11. Andrew Cuomo did this whole like presentation of like Sauron with Hassan, and I remember I was actually gonna talk about that, but then things got crazy because that was right before something else happened. And he had this whole thing during 9/11 of like Hassan Piker. He did this thing with Hassan Piker, and he just which is also really funny because didn't Cuomo do like a live stream with Sneeko? Like, I think this is so hilarious that he's like, oh, he went on a stream with Hassan Piker. You went on a stream with Sneeko. Like, Sneeko has literally denied the Holocaust. And you're, like, sitting over here acting like, oh, my God, he went on a stream with Hassan Piker. It's, like, really insane, honestly. And then he's like, Hamas and Hassan. Like... It's so insane. But okay, so this is the moment on Hassan's stream when they said this, and it was, oh God, it was so funny. It was quite hilarious. Special Friday with Liz Ashlee. Yeah, special Friday. Yes. Just kind of hanging out, chilling, making signs. I need to make a Discord because I was gonna say if people want to like share their signs with me, but share pictures. I need to make a Discord. That's like, it's been on my list for like weeks now. But anyway, this is my sign so far. I'm not the best at I'm not the best at this, but I'm trying. Okay, so let's see. Let's watch this. This is really funny.
So we have questions for all of you, but first for Mr. Mamdani, because something you said that's been generating headlines in the news today as we come into the debate yesterday.
Okay, let's go to the Cuomo part.
For bringing peace to Gaza.
Occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team.
I skipped it. Damn it. I thought I had it. Oh, here we go.
Who said America deserves 9/11?
Damn it. Okay, sorry.
Capable of praising our president. And you were capable of praising our president.
Gentlemen, we have
give credit where credit is due. He's brought peace to Gaza.
Yeah, gentlemen, we want to hear everything you have to say. We have other questions.
Yeah,
matter. Mr. Cuomo,
properly
please,
gives
brief
credit.
response because we do have other questions on this issue that you may be able to address. Go ahead.
I did applaud President Trump and his administration. I think it was a great accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea. That's why he won't denounce globalized intifada, which means kill all Jews.
Let's give Mr. Mamdani a chance to respond to that.
I want to be very clear. The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. And I find the comments that Hassan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring you right on your suit jacket.
Hell yeah.
We're going to turn to Sally, actually.
Yeah, actually.
Oh my God, that was so funny. That was so funny. I want to see what he says.
This kind of flows, and then we'll go back to Melissa. Mr. Mamdani, you told NBC's Meet the Press that you don't believe it's the role of the mayor to police speech. Your words about this war have comforted many New Yorkers, but they've troubled others. And I want to ask about some of this.
And he actually
there
was
is your
pretty
recent
nice
refusal,
about
as we just discussed, to condemn the slogan "Globalize the Intifada," which many view as a call.
Okay, this is already. Wait, okay.
This is the real shit.
Yeah. No, it's so funny because, like, I bet you I bet you the majority of the people who watch this had no idea who Hassan Piker was. So it's actually so funny. It's so funny that he was like, "You don't condemn Hassan Piker." Like, I think there are a good amount of people who have no idea who Hassan is, like, at all. Oh my God. I was like screaming in my car when this happened. I was like, oh my God. Because it was just so funny. Like, why would you bring that up? Why would you bring that up? Also, again, he literally was on a stream with Sneeko. Okay, now I understand why, like, that was not Zoran's response, because again, I don't think anyone knows who Sneeko. I think even less people know who Sneeko is. Sorry, but like, Sneeko has literally like denied the Holocaust, and Cuomo was on a live stream with him. So like, come on, man, come on, like. Should we start putting out poster boards of Zoran with Sneeko? I mean, not Zoran, sorry. Cuomo with Sneeko, just like with poster boards everywhere of Cuomo with Sneeko. Like, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. Like, it's just, he's just like flailing. It's so funny.
Well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea. That's why he won't denounce globalize the Intifada, which means kill all Jews.
No, it doesn't. A chance to respond to that.
No, it doesn't.
I want to be very clear. The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. And I find the comments that Hassan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR, so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring you right on your suit jacket.
Melissa has another.
We're going to turn it to Sally, actually.
Yeah, actually, this kind of flows, and then we'll go back to Melissa. Mr. Mamdani, you told NBC's Meet the Press that you don't believe it's the role.
Globalize the Intifada, it just means uprising. Intifada means uprising. Globalize the uprising. That's what it means. Does not mean what they always say. That is not true. And Zoran has actually answered that question. He said that Israel doesn't have the right to exist as a ethno-state, as a religious ethno-state. That is what he said. And it's so funny because all of the headlines after this debate are like, oh, he wouldn't condemn Hamas. He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't do that. Even though he has, and he has answered these questions, and he's answered all these questions. He's done all of this over and over and over and over again, but it's never enough. It's never enough. It's not that he's not answering them. It's not that he's not making his point known. It's just that it's not sufficient to them. It's not a good answer to all these different people, to all the journalists, to all these different people, to the establishment. It is not sufficient for them, for the Republicans, for conservatives. His answers aren't sufficient. So instead, they're just like, well, he didn't really answer it. Well, he didn't, he won't do this. He won't do that. No, he has answered these questions. You just keep asking them because honestly, it's racist. It's Islamophobic. Like, it's crazy.
Of the mayor to police speech. Your words about this war have comforted many New Yorkers, but they've troubled others, and I want to ask about some of this. There is your recent refusal, as we just discussed, to condemn the slogan, globalize the Intifada, which many view as a call to arms.
That's not
what it is. In 2017, you rapped lyrics praising the Holy Land Five. These are men who were convicted of supporting terrorism.
It's just like a word. It's a word, and they're scared of a word because it's not in English.
Especially Jewish residents who might be concerned about this, that you would be a mayor for all. You have 1 minute to answer this.
Thank you for this opportunity. When I am speaking about the responsibility of leading this city, I mean leading not just those who voted for me, leading not just those who vote, but leading every single person who calls this city home. And that includes Jewish New Yorkers. And I have been so thankful for the opportunity I've had to sit with so many Jewish New Yorkers over the course of the primary and through the general. And it's in those conversations that I learned that this phrase evokes many painful memories. Memories of bus attacks in Haifa, of restaurant attacks in Jerusalem. And I heard from a rabbi about their roommate who was killed on one of those buses. And in hearing that and the distance between that impact and the rationale that some use of saying it, of speaking about the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land, is why I said that I would discourage this language that I do not use. And what I'm looking to do as the first Muslim mayor of this city is to ensure that we bring every New Yorker together. Jewish New York.
He's literally said that like a million times. Like, I have heard him say that answer a million times. Like, I knew what he was gonna say because he has said it a million times, and yet and still everyone's like, oh, he didn't condemn it, he hasn't condemned it. Like, I mean, he kind of has. Like, stop. Why? Like, it just lies. It's just lies. It's so stupid. I don't think he should condemn it. I think it's silly because I think, and he tried to explain what it meant, but I just don't think people care because they just hear this word that they think is scary because, again, it's not in English, and so they think it's scary. And it just means uprising. That's what it means. But, I mean, it's just... the fact that he keeps getting hammered on this is honestly ridiculous.
Muslim New Yorkers, every single person that calls this city home, that they understand they won't just be protected, but they will belong.
Mr. Ashlee, what we will get to first, I'm going to ask a question of Mr. Cuomo. While you are a strong supporter of Israel, you have also been slow to develop a relationship with the city's Muslim community. You have called Mr. Mamdani a terrorist sympathizer. How do you assure those New Yorkers, especially Muslims and Arabic New Yorkers, that you will be a mayor for all? You'll have 1 minute.
Yeah, well, first, I think the assemblymen are...
I'm glad they asked this because they did not, like, I feel like they barely even, like, I feel like they didn't touch on stuff like this last time, like, barely. They barely cared about Muslim constituents and just cared and, like, didn't call out Andrew Cuomo's Islamophobia at all. And this one they kind of do. I mean, it's not as heavy, but they kind of
created the perception himself. Why wouldn't he condemn Hamas? Why wouldn't he condemn Hassan Piker? Why did it take us here tonight for the first time
after he just answered?
He still won't denounce, globalize the Intifada, which
just
means
did.
kill all Jews. Just say, I denounce it. He won't do it.
Nothing is good enough for him. Nothing is good enough for him.
To address the question that we're putting to you, I think you've made the point, but can you please answer about your own relationship with the Muslim community? You did not visit mosques for many years. More recently, you have been.
Yeah, I don't think in any way the assemblyman is representative of the Muslim community.
That wasn't the question.
Which is a vital community in New York City.
And he is Muslim.
And I am very fond of, and I've been working with.
Racist piece of shit.
I think he's playing his own politics. Many of his positions don't even follow the Muslim faith.
I love how he's just smiling. He's just like smiling.
Mr. Mamdani, want to respond?
You know, it took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except, you know, that's totally false. I've worked with the Muslim community for many years.
Name a single Muslim.
This isn't funny, but it's funny that Curtis Lewa keeps being like, I am also here. I am also in this race. He has to keep reminding people. He's like, I am also here. I am also in this race. Okay? Remember that I am here, please. Oh my God, it's so funny.
Mosque you went to when you were the governor. Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here. They were
before I was here.
Before you were even in state government. I worked with the Muslim community. Imams presided over state of the states. We worked in religious working groups, tolerance groups, anti-Semitic groups, etc.
Anti-Semitic. He worked in anti-Semitic groups.
Rosemary has a specific question for you, but I'll give you a second.
Zohar, this is what disturbs me about you. You will be celebrating your birthday this weekend. In 1991, I was in the streets of Crown Heights. with the Guardian Angels for 30 days and 30 nights.
Vigilante
When the
group
first Democratic Socialist
that
mayor
beats
of
up
New York City,
minorities.
that's right, David Dinkins, was a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America, abandoned the Jews for 3 days. They were left to their own means. And we protected them for 30 days and 30 nights. Then your favorite mayor, Bill de Blasio, in 2019, abandoned the Jews again when they were being attacked in Williamsburg, in Borough Park, and Crown Heights.
Mr.
And I had
Sleva,
to bring the Guardian Angels in for 30 days,
Mr.
30
Sleva,
nights.
Mr. Sleva.
Jews don't trust that you are going to
Mr.
be
Sleva.
there for them when they are victims of anti-Semitic attacks.
Okay. Brief response, Mr. Mamdani. We have a specific question for you from Rosarina, but Mr. Mamdani, please.
I agree,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
One of the most
course you
meaningful
do.
experiences I've had over the course of this campaign has been the conversations I've had with Jewish New Yorkers. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about the door that they've had to lock that they had kept open for 40 years. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me on the M57 about an apartment the speech therapist was trying to sell when a realtor told her, put the Jewish books off the table. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about their fear in living in this city. And I will be a mayor who finally addresses that, not through the theatrics of the politics on this stage, but through action. I'll do that by ensuring that we have
Mr.
police
Mamdani,
officers
thank you.
outside of
I want to get
synagogues
to
on
a
the high
question.
holy days.
Gentlemen, we have a lot to get to, and we do have a specific question for Mr. Sleva. Rosarina.
Thank you, David. Mr. Sleva, you've called for tougher policing of pro-Palestinian protests, and you've suggested that Mr. Mamdani uses languages that is anti-Semitic. How do you assure New Yorkers that you'll be the mayor for all?
Well, I've been there for all people in all times for 46
Have
years as
you?
leader of the Guardian Angels here and around the world.
I don't know about all
Whether
people.
it is a religious violation of people's rights to worship as they choose in a mosque, in a church, in a synagogue, or
Have
a
you
shul,
protected a
whether
mosque?
it's because of racial identity. Remember, in the summer of 2020, Asians were under constant attack because of the lockdown and pandemic. I don't remember Governor Cuomo coming to their aid. You were the governor then. I was out there going into all the neighborhoods, Flushing, Bayside.
Okay.
We were in down in Bensonhurst. We were in Chinatown itself, where Asians were being attacked indiscriminately because they were thought to be carrying COVID. We protected them
that was
then.
fucked up.
Governor, you were not there for them. De Blasio was not there for them. We understand hate. And in order to counteract
I don't know
hate, you
if
have
he
to get the
understands
community involved along with the police to protect people when they're under siege. Jews are under attack now more than ever before.
Mr.
And I don't
do you
believe
want to
either
answer
of
this?
you have
Yes,
the capabilities
Thank you,
of
Mr.
protecting
Sleva.
them
Yes.
with increased
Yeah.
anti-Semitism.
That is pure fiction. I passed the no hate in our state, the strongest hate crime law in the United States of America. We tolerate no hatred, no discrimination. We are
you
from
kidding me?
every
He's
place
Islamophobia.
on this
He's
globe. and
Unless
we are
it's
proud
you
of
that is
it.
perpetrating
And excuse me, and we're tolerant and we accept. If you notice, the assemblyman still won't say he believes that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state. He is a divisive personality all across the board. NYPD,
What does this have to
a
do with
racist,
New York?
Barack
What does that have
Obama
to
is
do with New
evil,
York?
liar, and he gave the finger to the Christopher
All right.
Columbus
We're gonna
statue.
have
By
to
the
move
way-
on.
As he should. As he should. That's so ridiculous. It's like, and he gave the finger to the Christopher Columbus statue. Who is still out here standing up for defending Christopher Columbus? Who is still out here doing that? Listen, on Indigenous Peoples Day, okay, I made a little like post about like why you shouldn't celebrate Christopher Columbus Day because Donald Trump said that they're going to revive Christopher Columbus Day, whatever. And literally I watched so many like YouTube videos and documentaries about what happened to all of the Native Americans and what happened to and what Christopher Columbus did to a lot of indigenous people. And it's insane. It's disturbing and disgusting, and he was a horrible person. He like started the that was my phone. He like started the transatlantic slave trade. So no, he's objectively a horrible person. Even back then, he was a horrible person. Even back then, they didn't like him. Even back then, I think he got like stripped of all of his notoriety, and And everyone like hated him when he got back. He is not a good person. He was not a good person back then. And we should not be sitting here and trying to like revive his legacy. First of all, he never came to America. Okay. He never stepped foot in America. That never happened. And the only reason that we celebrate him in America is because I forgot what year it was, but there were a lot of anti-Italian hate crimes going on because since whiteness is a construct to oppress people, Irish people and Italian people were not considered white back then. And so they used to get hate crimed all the time. And so what happened is they made Columbus Day a holiday to try to show support to Italians, and because Christopher Columbus was Italian, and so that's probably why Cuomo's mad. That's probably why Cuomo's mad, because when people asked him why he's a creep, he said, "Oh, he's Italian." Insane. But yeah, no, this is just crazy. He should be, everyone should not like Christopher Columbus. That's an insane thing to say.
By the way, Cuomo, your laws with no cash bail turn the haters right back in the street to violate and attack again and again and again.
Thank you.
You're the reason for that. No cash bail.
Thank you.
Yes, you don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Go ahead.
There have been a number of absolutely unfounded lies that have been said by Andrew Cuomo. I would just like a moment to address them directly. I've said time and again that I recognize Israel's right to exist. I've said that I will not recognize any states. I said that I will not.
As a Jewish state.
If I would be allowed to finish, that I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race, of religion. I have made that very clear. And part of that is because I'm an American who believes in the importance of equal rights being enshrined in every single country, whether we're speaking about Israel or whether we're speaking about Saudi Arabia. You can stand here and you can lie all you want, but New York is
We have a question.
We
want
Israel.
to address some issues here.
All right, and we have another polarizing issue that we would love to discuss with you candidates. And let's talk about the National Guard here in the city of New York. Let's
Something
go back
actually
to
like
Mr. President Donald Trump.
pertains to New
One
York.
threat hanging over the city is the deployment of the National Guard troops, like he has done, as you all know, in other cities. The NYPD commissioner has rejected the idea as unnecessary, but the president ordered troops to hit the streets of New York. Now, how would you respond? Mr. Shleee, you have a minute.
There's no need for the National Guard in New York. Kathy Hochul, the governor, when we had a crime crisis in the subways that I'm well familiar with, being down there all the time, unlike my two adversaries, she sent 750 National Guardsmen down into the subways in 2024.
Are you kidding me? Zoran takes the subway. What are you saying? That's so insane. Oh my God, that's so insane.
Remember the horrible case of Debrina Kawar. Does anybody even say her name anymore? That woman who was set on fire by that migrant. As a result of that, the worst crime I've ever seen committed in the subway system. The governor did the right thing. She sent an additional 250 National Guardsmen, giving us a total of 1,000 National Guardsmen in the subway system, while our mayor, Eric Adams, was telling us it was all a perception. So Governor Hochul has responded.
Crime is down in New York.
The president of the United States.
I went to New York earlier this year. I went to New York earlier this year. And when I went to New York, it's so funny because I'll tell people I went to New York and they'll be like, "Oh, wasn't it scary? Like, were you scared?" No, I took the subway. I did it all. It was amazing. I was not scared. I was not I felt very safe. And yes, are there crimes that happen? And I'm sure what he's talking about was horrific. And crimes do happen, but it's not like an influx of crime in the subway. It's not like an influx of crime in New York City. Crime is actually down and has been down there. Just like when I tell people crime has been down in St. Louis, they look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm not. I'm correct. And that doesn't mean that there's not crime, and that doesn't mean that people who commit the crime shouldn't, have repercussions. But to continue to militarize and create more of a police state, I just don't think is the answer to that crime. And so, like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Eric Adams was, like, correct. Like, if he was saying, like, I feel like Eric Adams was wanting more police in the subways, and that's what he wanted. So it's kind of crazy that Curtis Lewa was saying, oh, he was saying it's just a perception. But it is like, it is just, it is like it's the narrative that everyone's saying. That doesn't mean that there's not crime, but it has been going down. But just no one wants to see that reality. And it's a very frustrating thing when no one wants to actually see the facts of it and just wants to go off like the narrative and the propaganda around big cities.
With cities all across America having guardian angels there, if you were going to send the National Guard, you don't need to send them to New York City. There are other cities that could desperately use their help in dealing with their crime crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. Mr. Mamdani, how would you respond?
You know, I agree with Police Commissioner Tisch in that we do not need the National Guard here in New York City. We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country, but he won't, because they're all run by Republicans. What New Yorkers need is a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump and actually deliver on that safety. When Donald Trump sent ICE agents on people in Los Angeles, Andrew Cuomo said that New Yorkers need not overreact. That is the furthest answer that New Yorkers are looking for. They are looking for someone who will lead, someone who will say that they will have their back, someone who will actually fight for the people of this city. And that's who I am, because I'm not funded by the same donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term, which isn't something that Andrew Cuomo can say.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, first, the answer in the subways is not more National Guard. I put the National Guard in the subways also. It's more NYPD is the answer. But
no, it's not.
The National Guard is not, he's not sending in the National Guard to do any real function. It's control, it's power. He's trying to say these Democrats don't know how to run these cities, and it's a political gesture by sending in the National Guard. He has said if the assemblyman is elected, he will take over New York. Forget the National Guard.
But this is
he
the
has
question.
said, I'm going to take
question
the
is,
funds.
if they order the troops
The question
to
is,
come
what
here,
would you do?
what would
Yes.
you do?
The question is, what would you do?
Well, I went through this with him. He sent the National Guard to 20 cities when I was governor. You know what city he didn't send them to? New York. Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
Don't you
So that proves
dare.
a good relationship
Wait a
with
second.
the
The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive, but let me tell you something. You lost your own primary, right? You were rejected by your Democrats.
Why
And
did
you
you
have a
send the National
difficult
Guard?
understanding that
I saw that clip going around earlier today. You think you're strong? You lost your own primary. Dude, you and Trump are more alike than, honestly, either of them, okay? Like, Cuomo and Trump, I feel like, are more alike, are more alike than either of his opponents. And so it's so funny that Cuomo keeps saying, like, I'm going to stand up to him. And I said, no, you don't. Like, dude, you are not believable at all. Like, I do not think that I think that Donald Trump would still send in the National Guard, because it's not about, like, I mean, it is about blue states and blue cities. But I think he's going to eventually send them most places. And so, like, I don't think that it's about who's running these cities. I think it is about power and control. And I think it's also about, like, scaring people, because people are getting more and more, people are getting more and more upset and frustrated with the state of America. And so the more dissent there is, the more control and power he wants to have. Like, I think that, I don't think Cuomo, I don't think Cuomo is going to be in for that fight, because I don't really think he would fight back. I think he would find some excuse to go along with it, honestly. Like, I don't think Cuomo's the person. And I think it's so funny that Curtis Lewa was like, you can stand up to Donald Trump? You didn't even win your primary. That was great. That was a great line.
what the term
All
no
right,
is.
all right.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
not going to stand up to
Okay,
Donald
thank you,
Trump.
thank you.
I agree
No,
with Curtis.
You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
Okay.
And he
Listen.
can't stand up to Donald Trump, who
All right,
knocked
we have
him
a-
right
we have
on
a
his
follow-up.
tuchus.
We have a
Can I
You
say-
follow-up.
negotiate with him. You don't
Okay.
fight with him
Lewitt,
because
thank you.
only the people of New York City will lose.
we
yeah.
do have a
Stand up
follow-up.
to negotiate.
We have a follow-up.
I'd like to see a show of hands. Are there any circumstances where any of you would allow the NYPD to cooperate with the National Guard if Trump sent them to New York? Show of hands. Yes? No takers. Okay.
Okay.
Moving on. If history is a guide, National
I don't
Guard
believe
troops
them.
in the
I do-
city
I mean, I believe
could
they're wrong,
trigger
but I don't believe they're
protests.
wrong.
And we have questions for each of you about how you would handle that. So, Mr. Sliwa, you have been arrested for protesting migrant housing and for trying to serve Mayor Bill de Blasio with court papers. How would your NYPD
He's
handle
insane.
protests?
This
And
man
would
is
you
insane.
continue participating in protests as mayor? You have 1 minute.
Well, I have been arrested oftentimes in civil disobedience. That is a great American right. But demonstrations have a time and a place. And it used to be before Bill de Blasio, I know he was your favorite mayor, Joe Armandami, that you'd have to get a permit. There was a time period you were in a structured area. You get a sound permit, it could be turned around in a day. If there was going to be civil disobedience, you discussed it with the police department. And obviously you had an opportunity of expressing your anger or your outrage at whatever it was that motivated you to sit down in the street, to block traffic or block an egress. Now we have rampaging groups that go running through the streets, that enter all kinds of facilities and violate other people's rights. And there's no one who's willing to stop it. When I'm the mayor, there are rules and regulations. Everybody has the right to demonstrate, but you can't violate other people's rights or you yourself must be arrested. And I would remove the face covering.
Protests are supposed to be
Remove those
disruptive.
face coverings.
No.
Why are you afraid?
No. Okay, so then I should remove their face coverings. Also, right now, people should be wearing masks. I'm sorry. Like, I know a lot of people don't, and there's sometimes I do it, there's sometimes I don't. But I've been trying to do it more often because I've gotten sick a shit ton the past few months, and so I've been wearing masks more frequently. And so it's also for like health concerns as well, because there's going to be so many people at tomorrow's protest, and there's been so many people at protests. And so like, yeah, I think like this whole mask thing is so ridiculous. They're like, take off your mask. Well, you know what also is happening? ICE is also, what they're doing is they're trying to track people. They're trying to track people and use tech to track people. That's what they're doing right now. They're using the same tech that Israel has used to track people. And that's what they're doing. And they're doing it with like anti-ICE people, not just like immigrants. And not that it matters, they shouldn't use it on immigrants either. It's insane that we live in this like we're living in this like tech feudalism state already. But no, they are using this tech to track people, and so people are gonna cover their face. People are gonna try not to show identifiers of who they are, because this administration is out to call anyone who's a protester or anyone who dissents a terrorist.
Of identifying who you are as a demonstrator, unless maybe you're an agent provocateur
Thank you,
who's
Mr.
been
Sliwa.
sent in here to cause chaos.
Thank you. Rosarina?
The next question
Thank
goes
you.
to you, Mr. Mamdani. You were arrested for blocking traffic in a pro-Palestinian protest, and you participated in a sit-in at Grand Central. Protesters offered blocked streets, bridges, and hubs like Grand Central. How much of
Yes,
that would
it's
you
supposed to
allow
be
as mayor?
disruptive.
And what's your line in having the
That's the
NYPD
point of
arrest
protest.
protesters? You have a minute.
Protest is a part of what makes this city's history what it is. It is a part of the First Amendment. We deserve to have a mayor who stands up for that First Amendment, especially as we have a president that's looking to shred it at each and every opportunity. And we will continue to have protests in this city, as we should, no matter who is the mayor. And the
Yes.
line will be on the question of breaking the law. What we have today, however, is an attempt to intimidate so many who are looking to use that freedom of expression to share their opinions about the city and the world around them. And to be frank with you, what New Yorkers are looking for is someone who can show leadership in City Hall. Because when they don't see that leadership, that's when so many take to the streets. And if you
Yes.
had a leader like Andrew Cuomo, who was telling people not to overreact when they see ICE agents abducting girls as young as 6 years old to deport them. Many New Yorkers will take to the streets. We deserve to have a leader who will actually be following through on the values of the city. That's the leader that I'll be.
Mr. Mandania, just a quick follow-up. If you're elected, would you still participate in protests?
No, if I'm elected, I'll be the mayor, and I'll be leading the city from City Hall.
But no participation in protests, right?
The important thing is to lead from City Hall. That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
Woo!
If I may respond, because I believe my name was invoked.
A very brief response, and then I have a question for you.
I dealt with ICE. I stood up with ICE. I had a war with ICE here in New York when I was governor. And I stood them down, and they moved out. What the assemblyman is saying is he doesn't believe in law and order. He believes in defunding the police, disarming the police, disbanding the police. That's who he is. Abolish jails.
Sorry, I have a question for you. 15 seconds.
Very quickly.
No, we have to. And then we do just 15 seconds because we have a question for Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Cuomo lies again and again and again. I am not running to defund the police. I am running to actually work with the police to deliver public safety. Andrew Cuomo says that he has stood up to ICE. He has not said a word about the abductions that are happening right now.
He's referring to a previous comment you made, and we will get back to this. But Mr. Cuomo, a question for you.
It's a comment he made. Is the operative language.
Yes, I understand. I said that. As governor, you put the National Guard on standby during the George Floyd protests. You didn't deploy them. As mayor, talk about how you would balance the right to protest with maintaining order in the streets.
The right to protest is a sacred right. There is no doubt about that. But the law is the law also. And you have New Yorkers now who are afraid in this city. They're afraid of Donald Trump coming, they're afraid of that anarchy, and they're afraid of the anarchy in this city itself. We have to provide public safety that makes New Yorkers feel safe. Demonstration is one thing. Violating the law is something else. Blocking public transit is something else. Stopping students from going to class is something else. Harassment, intimidation, that's a hate crime, that's illegal. Enforce the law. Respect the police. They're not racists, as the assemblyman calls them. They're not a threat to public safety, as he says.
Yes, they
They're
are.
They're not anti-queer.
Yes. Oh, my God. Yes, they are. Oh, my God. Yes, they first of all, they are anti-queer. Learn about Stonewall. Second of all, they are a public safety. Yes. If you look at Chicago, just watch any video of Chicago protesters. Kat Abigazzala was just like hit in the face with a baton earlier today. Actually, like let me see if I can find it. But yeah, no, Kat Abigazzala was hit with a baton today at the protest in Chicago. Let's see. I think it's in here. Yes, so this is the video of them at the protest, and they're pushing them. The protesters are standing there peaceful. And now look at them. They're pushing them. She got hit in the face with a baton. And she wasn't doing anything. As you can see that they were peaceful. Okay, there was a picture, but I don't know if yep, there it is. There's the picture of her face. Yeah, so no. This is crazy. Like, they literally have almost every single day that there's been a protest in Chicago, they have been escalating it. They are the ones that are causing violence. And it's a shame because J.B. Pritzker keeps saying that the police are out there to protect the protesters, but that is not at all what they are doing. And they have been causing harm to the protesters because they've been doing that every single day, and it's ridiculous. They were being peaceful, and they sat there and they pushed them and they hit them with batons.
They are here to protect New Yorkers, work with them, fortify them.
You know, that's ironic that you say that now,
I'm sorry,
Andrew Cuomo, because when you were governor for 8 years, your parole board released 43 cop killers back into the street. Your father, when he was governor, released none. I knew Mario Cuomo. You know Mario Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo.
I'm sorry,
You don't say you're
Mr.
pro-police.
Mamdani, do you want to respond briefly to the comments that Mr. Cuomo raised about things you've said about police? You can do a brief response to that.
I have been clear time and time again that as much as Andrew Cuomo wants to bring up tweets from 2020, which is around the same time that he was sending seniors to their death in nursing homes, I am looking to work with police officers, not to defund the
That was
NYPD,
good.
looking to ensure that officers can actually do one job when they're signing up to join that department.
But he's
not the many jobs we're asking them to
He
do
was
today.
specifically
with the mental
referring to
health
comments
crisis.
you made. We will come back to that, but we're out of
said they
time.
are
This-
wicked
Melissa,
and
we're out.
corrupt
Candidates,
and racist.
we're moving
That's
on.
what you
Thank
said.
you.
Your words, your words.
We're moving on. Thank you. Despite record low crime numbers, polls show that crime remains a top concern for New York City voters. The three of you have very different approaches to crime fighting and how to manage the NYPD. We want to get into your plans. So we'll start with this question. It's a two-part question, but it's short. How will you make the city safer? And how will you change the NYPD? You'll have 1 minute. We begin with Mr. Cuomo.
I would add 5,000. Well, let's take a step back. Remember what happened. The far left, the socialists said defund the police, defund the police. They took $1 billion out of the police. The NYPD is now down at one of the lowest levels in modern political history. I would add 5,000 police, put 1,500 in the subways, raise the starting salary because you can't hire them. You can't even fill a class right now.
Oh my God.
And you have to add additional police officers because the attrition rate is so high. Part of that is going to be saying to the NYPD, I respect you. I don't think you're wicked, as the assemblyman said. I don't think you're corrupt.
He keeps doing
I don't
it.
think you're racists. I value you. I will have your back. I'll be a mayor to work with you. That's how you're going to get the police to apply for the jobs. And then we have to work on the relationship between the community and the police.
This
The
is
police
amazing.
can't police the community. They have to
Thank you,
police
Mr. Cuomo.
with the
You're
community.
up next, Mr. Sliwa.
This is amazing. I'm standing here with my two adversaries, both of whom have threatened to defund the police. You, Andrew Cuomo, during the summer of 2020, you said, if you don't reform police departments, I'm going to defund you. And you certainly said that, Zoran Mandami. We need 7,000 police. We only have 32,500. The problem in recruiting police, which neither of you are addressing, is that their insurance was stripped from them. The state, you did nothing when you were governor, and here in the city, 2021, the city council and Eric Adams did nothing. They don't have qualified immunity, which you've benefited from.
No, they
Andrew
shouldn't.
Cuomo,
They shouldn't have
with
qualified
the
immunity.
13 lawsuits
They shouldn't have qualified immunity. They shouldn't have qualified immunity. Why do police officers have qualified immunity? They shouldn't have qualified immunity. Like, that's insane. So they can just do whatever and get away with it like ICE? No, that's crazy. They should not, police officers should not have qualified immunity. Insane that they do in most other places. I didn't know that about New York. But they should. They shouldn't have it. They should not have qualified immunity. That's
filed against
crazy.
you for sexual harassment. Tom DiNapoli says we're paying out $60 million. Why?
That's
Because
true.
you had your qualified immunity as governor, and yet people have
he
stood
shouldn't have had it
by
either.
as
Response,
police
Mr.
have
Cuomo.
lost their insurance that all civil servants
May I
have.
respond?
That's why you can't get recruits in, because they're not insured. I will return their qualified
Maybe they should
immunity
be violent
because
with
they
people.
need to be
Please.
protected like other
Yeah.
civil servants.
That
Maybe
is not
shouldn't
New York
they
State.
shouldn't
It's
kill
New York City
unarmed,
under qualified
people.
insurance, unqualified immunity. It's not insurance at all.
You are entitled to
It's
free
qual-
legal
it's-
counsel, which is what he's
They
referring
shouldn't
to.
have
You have
qualified
spent.
immunity.
Yes, but it's
Some-
New York City that has revoked qualified immunity. It's not insurance. It's qualified immunity. It's nothing to do with insurance.
Well, that
Thank
protected
you.
you in all these lawsuits.
And yes, the lawsuits, because there was a report filed.
Yeah,
I said
taxpayer
it was
money went
political.
to
It turned out to be
defending Cuomo.
political, and that's why
All
Someone-
you had
13
legal
women
fees.
were lying?
Just say-
Come on, Andrew.
Well,
All
just
13
say-
women were lying?
After 5 years.
Some of
A
the
state
cases
trooper,
have
too?
still
Yeah,
been
after
open
5
and
years,
remain
5
open.
DAs,
Yeah,
5
yeah.
years
No,
of
they
litigation.
were- they were
was
not
dropped
lying.
from the case.
Mr. Mom,
I believe those women, and he literally has been harassing those women this whole entire time. He's a piece of shit.
Mamdani, how will
Breathe
you
once
make?
in a while.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani, how will you make the city safer, and how will you change the NYPD?
Thank you. This is the concern for so many New Yorkers, and I'm proud to have a comprehensive plan to bring new ideas to this city. If you want more of the same, vote for Andrew Cuomo. If you want an actual approach to lower crime, look at our Department of Community Safety. That is something that has been hailed by experts as addressing so many of the pieces of why New Yorkers are not feeling safe today. We will ensure that no longer are police officers asked to do the job of both policing and responding to the mental health crisis. We will have
explains this really
dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers in the top 100 subway stations with the highest levels of the mental health crisis and homelessness. We will ensure that cops can finally go back to the response times they used to have in 2020, closer to 11 minutes, as opposed to the closer to 16 minutes today, because they won't be asked to respond to the 200,000 mental health calls that are coming in through 911 every year. This is evidence-based. It's been successful elsewhere in the country. It's time we deliver it right here in New York City. It's time for a
Thank you,
change.
Mr. Mamdani.
Zora Mamdani, we already had it. It was called the Homeless Outreach
I'm
Unit
sorry, this
of
is not
cops
free
and
for all.
mental
We have
health
another
care
question for
officials.
Mr.
And Bill
Mamdani.
de
I'm just gonna keep
Blasio
talking.
funded them by
Mr.
taking
Sliwa.
$1 billion
Thank you,
out
Mr.
of the budget.
Sliwa. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr.
No, I think he explains that really, really well. And it's true. Like, there have been so many, like, mental health calls that police go to, and they end up killing the person that that was, like, called for the mental health problem. So I remember there was one where, I don't think it was in New York, but there was one really notorious one where there was, like, that kid in the car, and he, like, wrote the heart on the car, and someone had called because they thought he was going to hurt himself, and then they called the police, and the police ended up killing him, and he was unarmed, and they thought he was armed, and then they just, like, shot him. And so everyone's like, oh, they're trained in de-escalation. Are they? Because they seem to only escalate situations like 9 times out of 10. And so this happens a lot more than you think. And so that's why, no, like, I do not think that police should handle mental health calls because they're not equipped. They're not equipped to do it. And the way he phrases it is really good, because he's like, oh, we're taking the load off of the police, even though, like, you know, they'd probably be losing. And he doesn't talk about this anymore, but he does, like, talk about how, like, give them time back instead of, like, them doing overtime all so much. But of course cops probably aren't gonna like that because they make a lot of money doing overtime, but that costs the city a shit tons of money. And so but he has mentioned that before, of, like, cutting back on overtime, but he doesn't I don't think he says it as much anymore because it's probably not popular with the police in New York. But yeah, no, like, they should not be on mental health calls because they are not equipped to handle those situations whatsoever. Same with domestic violence. Like, that's something else that they talked about on Fox News was Zoran, and he said they shouldn't go to domestic violence calls, or they shouldn't go to domestic calls. And, you know, Jesse Waters on the 5 was like, oh, well, they expect social workers to do this. They expect all these mental health professionals to do this. Yeah, that's what they're trained in. Like, that's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're trained in. Cops are not trained in handling those situations. And usually they actually escalate it and end up hurting people in the process because they get trigger happy and they end up, like, killing people. Like, there was one time where they came, and I think it was a domestic violence, and they killed the dog. They shot the dog. Because the dog was, like, barking at them, and they shot the dog. Like, insane. Like, they do insane shit and get away with it every day. It's crazy.
Mamdani, we're going to talk about disciplining police officers. The civilian watchdog that investigates police misconduct regularly recommends discipline for cops accused.
Yes, yeah, you agree. Yes, hell no. Yeah. Cops should not be going to these situations because they make it worse, like, almost every single time.
Of wrongdoing, but the police commissioner often overrides them. You want to change that policy so that the board has final say. Please explain to viewers in 30 seconds why you believe the police commissioner should no longer have that final say.
What I've said is that I think it's time to remove much of the politics out of the question of accountability. We have the Civilian Complaint Review Board, which, as you said, studies, assesses, and investigates into complaints of abuse and the violation of the law. And oftentimes those recommendations are then subject to political pressures and not followed through on. I think New Yorkers deserve a system where they know it won't then be assessed once again, that there's actually more to the recommendation in the investigation that's being done by the CCRB.
Okay, we're wrapping up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Cuomo, do you believe changes are needed for how officers are disciplined? And are there any powers that you would give up as mayor? You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would not remove the police commissioner from the CCRB. I'd leave it with the police commissioner. I think Commissioner Tisch is doing a very good job. I would trust her. The difference between me and the assemblyman is he doesn't like the police. That's why he won't hire more police when everyone else says we need more police.
That's that's what. Well, see, here's the thing. It's so funny because earlier Fox News did a poll, and actually Zoran was winning on everything, on trust, on housing, on economics, on affordability, on everything, and he was also winning when it came to crime. He was also winning because I think a lot of people have had. I mean, I've had bad interactions with police. I've had many bad interactions with the police. Okay. And I mean, it's nothing compared to what people of color have to go through. But I've had bad interactions with the police. And I think most people have had bad interactions with the police. And so I don't think necessarily everyone's like, oh, we need more police, because what Zoran is saying is we need to get to the root of the problem. And if we get to the root of the problem, which is mental health and affordability, then there won't be as much crime, and crime is already going down. And so it's insane to keep wanting to militarize everything over and over again, and just keep wanting to always be the hammer to the nail over and over and over again, because it's all we've ever done in this country, and it's not working. We have so many prisons. We have so many people in prison. Our prison population is insane. Obviously, that is not what works. So why do we keep doing it? So, what are we doing? So no, I think people hear what Zoran is saying, and I think the way he's saying it is really smart. But yeah, it's just like what Andrew Cuomo was saying is just he is doing very well, but the right is very mad at him because he won't commit to keeping the current police commissioner. So they're like, he won't commit to that, and it's he's not even mayor yet. Let him do his thing. Come on, man.
He wants to use social workers on domestic violence calls, which are very dangerous, and he's told you what he thinks. He thinks the police are racist, wicked, corrupt, and a threat to public safety.
Thank you.
Those are his words.
Very quick.
Mr. Mamdani,
very quick.
Look, Andrew Cuomo is a politician of the past, and all he can speak about are the tweets of the past in 2020. Those are tweets which I have apologized for to New Yorkers and police officers directly, and they are not what I am actually running on.
No,
but you're incapable of actually speaking about the platform that we have here, which is one that will keep New Yorkers safe.
Can we just quickly ask you, because I think what some people feel they haven't heard from you, we hear you saying that you don't believe that anymore and you've apologized. People have not heard you sort of describe the evolution of your thought, how you got from there to here.
Growing up in this city, I would think often about safety and justice, and the ways in which that relationship has been irrevocably harmed. When I learned about the exonerated five, when I learned about Sean Bell, when I learned about Eric Garner, when I learned about Michael Brown, and then in 2020, when I wrote these tweets, learning about the death of George Floyd. And that was a moment where it felt as if the distance between these two ideals had never been further. And in becoming an assembly member and serving and representing more than 100,000 people in Queens, learning that to deliver justice means to also deliver safety. And that means leading a city where you recognize the bravery of the men and women who joined the NYPD and put their lives on the line. Yeah. It means representing the Muslims who were illegally surveilled in my district and the black and brown New Yorkers who've been victims of police brutality.
So Mr. Sleewa, you've been out there, you've been on the trains, and I would like to know if you believe changes are needed of how officers are disciplined.
Let me just suggest, Zoran, what you've suggested.
Zoran Curtis.
Zoran.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Let me just suggest what you have proposed with this new police outreach unit will endanger women and children in domestic violence situations. I know I've been involved in so many of them with the Guardian Angels. They will be killed. They will be maimed. Number two, in dealing with emotionally disturbed
by police
persons
officers
that I have dealt with for all my years as the Guardian Angels, you need trained professional police officers. Yes, you can have mental health workers with them.
Thank you, Mr. Sleewa.
But that has been suggested. It was done before by the homeless outreach unit. And the guy you thought was the best mayor, Bill de Blasio, disbanded.
Mr. Sleewa, thank you. Brief response.
He really doesn't like Bill
To be very
Blasio.
clear, the Department of Community Safety is not about responding to calls of domestic violence. We are speaking about mental health crisis and the homelessness crisis. These are the focuses of the work that they will do.
All right. We have other questions for that a little later in the debate, but we want to just change the pace a little bit, candidates, switching gears to the high cost of living in New York City. To kick us off, we have a few quick pocketbook questions that New Yorkers wrestle with daily. So we want to know how much you spend a week on groceries. We'll begin with you, Mr. Cuomo.
Depends how many times my daughters come over, but probably about $150.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa?
Oh, I'd say about $175 with a gallon of milk, now $5 and always rising up. Loaf of bread, simple
Okay.
loaf of bread. It used
Thank
to be
you, Mr.
99 cents. It's
Mr. Mum-
like $3 now.
Thank
the
you, Mr.
price is
Sliwa.
too,
It is very
Mr.
cheap.
Sliwa, thank you.
costly.
It's a brief answer. Thank you. Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, I actually agree with Curtis on that. It is too costly. Now that eggs are down to less than $4, though, my average spend every week is about $125, $150.
All right. Do you carry credit card debt or do you pay it off every month? Mr. Mamdani?
I like
I
these
pay it off every
questions.
month.
Mr. Cuomo?
Paid off.
Mr. Sliwa?
I don't have a credit card. I have a debit card.
And for the record, what is your monthly rent or mortgage, Mr. Sliwa?
About $3,900. It's not subsidized, as all.
Mr. Mamdani, what is your monthly rent or mortgage?
$2,300.
Mr. Cuomo?
Damn, that's still high.
He has a rent-stabilized apartment that a poor person is supposed to have. Mine is about $7,800.
We are actually getting to
We're gonna cover that subject. It's Sally?
Appreciate that.
Thank you. We're going to talk a little bit more about the runaway rent in this city. Mr. Mamdani, you're pledging to freeze rent for nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. That really affects less than half of all rentals in the city. What is your plan for those who aren't in stabilized apartments but are struggling to pay
like
the
that
rent? What are
question.
you going to do for them?
Well, I'm proud to say that I, yes, will freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, and I will also build 200,000 truly affordable homes across the 5 boroughs over the next 10 years to ensure that tenants, whether rent-stabilized or market rate, can actually have more housing such that they are not being priced out of this city. And finally, I'm also going to
Those
make it
prices are
easier for the
atrocious.
private sector to build housing in this city, because what we see today is that it's not labor, it's not materials, it's the weight that is often costing so much to actually build the housing we need in this city.
Thank you. And a follow-up for you, Mr. Mamdani. The cost of maintaining a building change year to year for landlords. The Rent Guidelines Board is legally required to consider those costs when deciding whether to freeze rents. So how can you promise a rent freeze today before ever seeing that data next year?
You know, we've seen the data time and again. It's
But next
data
year's data.
It's been data that's been overruled by mayors again and again. The last Rent Guidelines Board study
It's happened
showed
before.
that profits
Bill
were up
de Blasio did
12%
it.
for landlords of those units. And what did they do? They raised the rent, adding to more than 12% under Eric Adams' administration. What I am speaking about is actually reflecting the needs of these New Yorkers and the state of the market today. These are New Yorkers who have a median household income of $60,000. We do not need to be pushing them further out of the city. We need to keep them in their homes.
Aren't you saying in that answer that you are going to prejudge? You will not have seen the data for next year and you're making a determination based on data you haven't seen.
I've seen the data year after year of the fact that salaries are stagnating,
Based
costs
on
are
the
up,
current-
New Yorkers can't actually afford their apartments. And I will also take action
Okay.
Wow,
to
they're
actually
trying to
ensure that the
confront him on
landlords of
this.
those
All right,
buildings
we're
can
at
better handle their
time.
costs by taking on their insurance,
It is
their property
based on
taxes,
annual
and their water
data, and
bills.
you
So-
haven't seen next year's data
Mr.
yet, but
Cuomo,
we're going to go
I
to
do have a
Melissa.
question for you on this subject. You have proposed something that you're calling Zoran's Law. You think that Mr. Mamdani earns too much to live in his rent-stabilized apartment, though I should note that there are no income tests for rent-stabilized apartments.
And there
But critics
shouldn't-
say
and
your
there shouldn't
plan
be. And
would
there
force
shouldn't
people
be.
to pay too much of their income
Insane.
towards the rent. So if you think Mr. Mamdani is gaming the system, what about the other New Yorkers,
Yes.
thousands of them just like him, who earn similar salaries, who are living in similar apartments? What
Okay,
would-
just to follow up on
okay.
what Sally was saying, because she's
I'll be right back. I forgot to
This is not a new
get-
plan that the
You can get, like,
Assemblyman
a
is talking
blue
about. It's
marker.
Bill de
I will be
Blasio's
right-
plan. It was
right
called
back.
Freeze the Rent. Bill de Blasio says the mayor can't say legally he's going to freeze the rent. There's a Rent Guidelines Board. There are certain considerations that have to be looked at. You're right, Sally. You can't say today what it's going to be in 4 years. Also, freeze the rent only postpones the rent, because then you have to have an increase to cover the costs. Otherwise, the building is going to go bankrupt. And it does nothing for the majority of renters who aren't in these rent-stabilized units. There's nothing for NYCHA. There's nothing for homeowners. There's nothing for people in black-brown communities who are getting priced out. I was the HUD secretary. I built affordable housing all across this nation. I built affordable housing in this city when I was in my 20s.
That's true.
I know how to get it done. I will get it done. On the rent-stabilized units, what I'm saying is those are the precious units, and we
You're out
should,
of time. I'm sorry,
we should
Mr.
keep
Cuomo.
them for
We didn't
the
get an answer
most
to the
rent
question.
burden.
We have to move on.
But I have a question for you.
No, sorry, he invoked me for much of that question. Just a very
Yes.
brief response
He's
here.
very brief.
response.
You've
was
heard
great.
it from Andrew Cuomo that the #1 crisis in this city, the housing crisis, the answer is to evict my wife and I. He thinks you address this crisis by unleashing my landlord's ability to raise my rent. If you think that the problem in this city is that my rent is too low, vote for him. If you know the problem in this city is that your rent is too high, vote for me.
If I understand it correctly,
Sons of
Mr. Cuomo,
millionaires
your
need
program,
subsidized
Zoran's Law,
housing.
would not evict Mr. Mamdani.
It would not evict.
It would
No,
apply
he
to
just-
people applying for
Yeah,
apartments.
he's
But the
making
tenant
it up.
but the
He
tenant
made it up.
advocates.
It would evict
right.
no one.
This
It would
does
be
not
an
affect
income limitation
You have to move
on
on.
that.
No, because this law would not just affect Zoran. This would affect everyone. And that's why it's so funny that like he's laughing and that the moderator was like, yeah, no, this would not just affect him. Like you can call it Zoran's Law all you want, but like it's also going to affect everybody else. Oh my God, he's so dumb. God, Cuomo is so unlikable. It's so hilarious.
I have a
Mr.
question
Sliwa.
for Mrs.
This is
Sliwa.
like
Rosarina-
a spat in the schoolyard. Let me
No,
suggest.
Mrs.
Can I
Lee,
please
Rosarina
ask
has
a
a
question?
specific question for you on this.
Yeah, well, I wanted
Right
to
here.
talk about affordability
Well, you can
and
use it.
obviously address
Absolutely.
that
Go
issue.
ahead.
So you've proposed, Mr. Sliwa, plans that would made a point of talking about the struggle of renters and property owners. Describe your plan to help renters and landlords.
Well, first off, we have 6,000 available apartments that the mayor controls in NYC, and they've been empty for years. That you address #1. Then we talk about senior citizens who are living here. My whole goal is to improve and not to move. I'm concerned about the seniors, especially those that own homes. If they're 65 and make less than $250,000, no property tax, because the property tax is way too high. We need to cut it in half to keep people who are here. And then in terms of rentals, we have affordable housing that can be built in these huge skyscrapers. You see them all throughout Manhattan and in northern Brooklyn and in Long Island City, which we have 25 Empire State Buildings full of commercial space that will never be occupied for office space. We should be converting them into affordable apartments. They're in dense areas. The infrastructure can support it. I'm the only candidate here who's against the
Mr.
city of
Sliwa,
Yes
thank you.
that would
Mr.
destroy
Sliwa.
residential
I
neighborhoods.
have to interrupt you because we have a programming moment right now. We're about halfway through the mayoral debate. Channel 4 and Telemundo 47 will return to regular programming, but we got a lot to get to, and you can continue watching live on NBC New York, Telemundo 47 streaming
you made
and digital
everyone go to
platforms,
YouTube, which is so
Lexitos,
weird.
Politico.com, and YouTube. Stay with us. A lot to discuss.
I don't think this is the commercial. I don't know. See.
Gentlemen,
Yay, there's
gentlemen,
time.
thank you. That was kind of a natural point for us to transition, and we want to talk now about transportation, getting around
brave
town.
brother
And we have a
works
few
it
quick
all.
questions about how you get around town. Show of hands, even though they're in their waning days, who has a Metro card or maybe uses OmniPay?
Uses OmniPay?
Yeah, OmniPay, yeah. Metro card, I mean, I have one, but I know I'm hanging on to the last
So
moment.
you're on the subways.
So, like, okay, so I encountered this year when I went to New York and used the subway. So there's like this thing called OmniPay, and I guess it's like when you live there, you just like you have a card that you use and you have to pay for that card, and it's like a consistent thing where you can also go to this other kiosk and then you just buy a ticket that it's like short-term tickets kind of. I don't know. I'm probably getting it wrong, but I'm not really sure the difference between the two. I just remember being confused when I got there and I had to buy like a ticket and you know, you still have to buy like a card, like a Metro card. I kept it. But you still have to buy like a Metro card and then put money on it. But OmniPay is something different. So I don't know. But I think it's for people who like live there and it's easier. And I think you can use it with buses too. But because with the bus, I had to pay separately and it wasn't the same as the Metro card. So I think that's actually might be the difference. But yeah, anyway, that's what they're talking about.
Mr. Sliwa, what do you use? I'm just curious. If you don't,
OmniCard. In fact, I got a whole batch.
Okay.
I'm in the subways, I'm in the buses, and I'm in the express buses. The only candidate
Thank
who
you.
rides mass transit every day.
When you need to get somewhere fast
I
and
think
you
Zoran
can't take
does.
the train, do you hail a taxi? Do you use rideshare? Mr. Sliwa, what do you do?
I try to avoid yellow cabs. As you know, I was shot in the back of a yellow cab in 1992 by the Gottis and Gambinos. But I find my way around. If I have to, I Uber if I can't get there by mass transit.
What do you do, Mr. Mamdani, if you can't take the train?
I would either take a cab or ride a bike.
Mr. Cuomo?
I will take a cab, Uber.
Okay. All right, thanks, sir. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, David. let's talk about free buses. Mr.
Yes.
Mamdani, this is a centerpiece of
Yes.
your campaign. Can you explain how you will make buses free? You have 30 seconds to answer.
Absolutely. We will make buses free by replacing the revenue that the MTA currently gets from buses. This is revenue that's around $700 million or so. That's less money than Andrew Cuomo gave to Elon Musk in $959 million in tax credits when he was the governor. And the reason that we will do so is that making buses free doesn't just provide economic relief, but also public safety. Because what we've seen is that it decreases assaults on bus drivers by 38.9%. New Yorkers deserve more than the slowest buses in the country. I know that because I was on the M57 not too long ago, and its average speed is 4.9 miles
We're at
an
time,
hour.
though, but the question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund
answered.
the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares.
answered.
And that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've
How?
put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
We're going to move along, but I just want to point out to viewers that Governor Hochul has opposed raising the income tax. But Melissa, we'll move on to your question.
Okay,
Could I
Mr.
address that on the bus?
I think, well, like everyone keeps saying that, but I think Kathy Hochul is open and willing to do a lot more things with Zoran than a lot of people are giving her credit for. Not that I like her, I don't. But, well, I mean, she's okay. I mean, she's not, I mean, she's whatever. But, like, I do think that she's going to have to run again and she wants to win. And Zoran is very, very popular. And she got on board with congestion pricing. And so I think that he has a good chance of getting her to change her mind on that, personally.
Buses because
coming to you
half
next.
the people don't pay their bus fare to begin with, Zoran. And so it's
Zoran.
It's a complete disaster. If you have free bus fare, and the Citizens Budget Commission said just last year, 2024, $1 billion of fare evasion in all different forms. This MTA system will collapse. There's not enough money out there to make up for fare evasion. Pay your fare. If you don't pay your fare, they have fare programs for the poor and the indigent. But everybody should be forced to pay their fare.
Mr. Cuomo, you had both praise and some criticism from Mr. Mamdani's free bus pilot. So you're sort of in the middle on this issue. What's your plan to make subways and buses more affordable?
I think free buses is a mistake. It costs about $700 million. Just to give you an idea that we only raise about $500 from congestion pricing. It's been done before in other cities. It was a disaster. They stopped. They basically became mobile, homeless, gathering places. What I say is free buses for working families who can't afford it and free subways for working families. But don't subsidize rich people on a bus. And it's been tried and it's failed.
Mr. Mamdani, can you just respond quickly on the point about the mobile homeless gathering places?
This is something that we heard when we were fighting to make buses free in Albany when we delivered the first fare-free bus lines in New York City history. And what we saw is when we made one bus route free in each borough of New York City, there was no increase in homelessness on those buses. There was no increase in fare evasion in the surrounding area. What there was an increase in ridership of up to 38%.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Candidates, maybe we can dig deeper on this and get a sense of how all of you would pay for your big ideas. Mr. Mamdani, we'll start with you. We've obviously been talking about free buses. You've talked about free childcare, city-run grogrocery stores. So essentially, you're proposing about $10 billion in new spending. And as you've indicated, you want to pay for it with tax increases. But as Sally pointed out, Governor Hochul said no to raising income tax on millionaires. So tell New Yorkers tonight how you're going to pay for all of this in 1 minute, if you can.
Look, a lot of people have called even my campaign a non-starter when we first began. And now I stand before you proud to be the Democratic nominee who got the most votes in city primary history. And I believe we will see the same thing with our push to ensure that we are taxing the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations the fair amount that they should pay. Now, there are those who will say that because it will be hard, you should give up. We saw what giving up looked like when Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He gave up on fighting for working class New Yorkers and instead caved in to his billionaire donors. And what did we get? We have the fastest and most frequent helicopter service to the Hamptons, and we have the slowest and more expensive bus service across the 5 boroughs.
Yes. I'm glad he pointed that out. Because he's like, he doesn't care. And what he does is he caters to the rich people. And that's why he keeps saying, oh, working families. And that's why he wants to be like, we don't want to subsidize rich people. You already subsidize rich people. You gave tax incentive, tax credits to Elon Musk. That's what he was just saying, tax cuts to Elon Musk. And so you already subsidize the rich. You already do that, Andrew Cuomo. You've already done that, Andrew Cuomo. So that's what he's saying, that he felt like that the buses are faster and work better in places that make more money than they are in other places. And that's what he was saying. I think he was saying like the Hamptons, because that's the rich area. But that is true. Cuomo is already subsidizing the rich. That's what they all do. And that's why it's so stupid when conservatives and centrists or whoever want to sit here and be like, I don't want to subsidize the rich when it comes to like student loans or free buses or whatever. They're like, we don't want to subsidize the rich. We're already subsidizing the rich. We do it every day. We're already subsidizing the rich, making things like actually using it, because it's not technically free, but using our tax dollars to pay for infrastructure like public transit is good for everyone. That is not subsidizing the rich. That is good for everyone. That is good for the constituents. That's using our tax dollars in a tangible way that will help people, in a way that will help people in their everyday lives. And that's what our tax dollars are supposed to go to. But instead, they always want to be like, oh, well, you're subsidizing the rich. No, you're subsidizing the rich by giving them tax cuts and tax credits or whatever the hell, and by making sure that they can do whatever they want unregulated. That's exactly what we're already doing. It's insane. It's such a stupid argument. Okay.
But again, Mr. Ramdani, I know Governor Hochul indicated this week there may be some open.
Sorry. This is it so far. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. It says ice out of our streets. And then I have like ice melting, kind of. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm literally going to wrap it in tape. Because it's going to rain tomorrow, and so I don't want it to disintegrate. And so I'm going to wrap it in tape. So that's what I'm going to do now. Hopefully it's not super, super loud. I might have to mute my microphone for a second, just like unmute it when I want to talk. But we'll see. I hope it's not super, super loud. Okay. All right.
Windows, but more or less income tax on millionaires is off the table, according to the governor.
Look, I've said very clearly, making buses fast and free costs about $700 million a year. Making universal child care a reality costs about $5 or $6 billion a year. If you raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, you'd be raising $5 billion in and of itself.
I have a couple of follow-ups. Mr. Sleeper, you're next, but I have a couple of follow-ups.
I would just add one additional thing. We have also put forward a plan to save money here in New York City with $1 billion in savings through procurement reform, through following the independent budget office's assessment about hiring more fiscal auditors, and in actually collecting the fines and fees from bad landlords across the city.
Just a quick couple of follow-ups. If you could find some of the funding, but not all of it, which of your priorities would come first? What would be the first among equals that you would try to get done?
Well, freezing the rent doesn't require any fiscal infusion, so that will be something we'll be pursuing immediately. And universal childcare, after housing, is the second cost. Childcare is the second cost pushing New Yorkers out of this city. $22,500 a year is the estimate we've seen.
Okay.
That will be a priority for us.
And I just want to know if you could get the money and funding elsewhere, would you drop the call for the tax increase?
Absolutely. The most important thing is funding these agenda items. I think these are the two most important and straightforward, direct ways to do so. But if the money comes from elsewhere, the most important thing is funding.
Melissa has a question for Mr. Sleewa.
Mr. Sleewa, you've been talking about cutting taxes and spending. So what is your plan, and how would you pay for your programs like 7,000 more cops?
Well, Zoran, boy, your fantasies are never going to come about.
I really listen, I don't know if I've ever heard in a debate where they're like, okay, where are you going to get the money to hire more cops? I love that they asked that, because I asked that on Threads the other day. Follow me on Threads. I've had one thread that's actually done a little bit okay. But anyway, I just started posting on there. But on Threads, I posted like, because we're now doubling the amount we're going to give to Argentina to bail them out to 40, isn't it like 40 billion now? It was 20 billion, now it's 40 billion. And I put, is anyone going to ask him how he's going to pay for this? Because that is always asked to people who are like, we need to have childcare. We need to have free buses. And they're always like, how are you going to pay for that? That's ridiculous. It's a fantasy. Okay. How are you going to pay for hiring all of these cops? How are you going to pay for all of the tax cuts that you gave to Elon Musk, Cuomo? Like where are you getting the money for these other things? Because it's not about where are you getting the money from. It's how you're using our tax dollars. And instead of using them for the community, they instead use them to give to, again, subsidize rich people, and when they hire more cops and when they do stuff like that, and that rarely helps the community. And so it's funny that it's funny that Zoran's like smiling, because that never gets asked. Yes, like how are you going to afford the things that you want to do? Socialists always get asked that, but then when it comes back around to the other people, we don't think about it when it comes to other things. So I'm glad they asked that.
In terms of funding everything you want, it's going to be free. It's a fantasy. Let's deal with the reality.
Oh my God.
7,000 cops. You already have a plan in Boston where you pay for taxes in the future. This is a great plan in which universities and others who have bought up properties that are now taken from the real estate market and taken from property tax pay. We could raise $1 billion from Columbia University, NYU, that are in the real estate business, and Madison Square Garden, your friends, Andrew Cuomo, Jimmy Dolan, who pays no property taxes. That's how you raise $1 billion to get 700 police officers trained, vetted, and out into the streets in the 5 boroughs. And then the police will be on the subways, and they will be patrolling the old-fashioned way where they're needed, going up and down the moving subway cars where people want to see the visual protection, especially women who are being assaulted. And like we saw this morning on 86th Street, a woman with a gun to her head, an armed robbery because we don't have enough cops.
I have a question for you in this topic, and let's talk about history, because as governor, you raised and cut taxes. Now you're proposing some tax relief. What's the price tag for your proposals, and where will you get the money for example, 5,000 new police officers? You have a minute to answer.
I think Sally's question was very well taken. The Assemblyman's whole plan is based on a myth. He's going to raise taxes. Albany's going to raise taxes statewide on corporations, but the money's only going to go to New York City. That could never happen. Not just that the governor wouldn't support it. Really it's impossible. He said he's going to raise the taxes the same as New Jersey, corporate tax. No, it would be double the tax. You would see New Yorkers on 995 fleeing to Florida. We would be alone. So you have to be realistic with revenue. You have a $115 billion budget. You have to go through that city budget and find savings. I started the state, which is double the budget of the city, at a $10 billion deficit. I closed it and added services. And we can do the same with New York City.
Governor, as mayor, you would not increase spending in the New York City budget, yes or no?
There would be, whatever additional spending would be revenue neutral.
So
it's impossible. You got to cut taxes for people to stay here.
Thank you.
Corporations are not going to stay here. They're being lured south, the cities that are more corporate friendly. You got to cut the property tax, income tax for those who are 19 to 28 plus skill levels if they go to school here.
Thank you, Mr. Sleewa.
Andrew Cuomo thinks it's all right to spend $60 million to fund his legal defense from accusations of more than a dozen women of sexual harassment. But if I say we should spend the same amount of money on delivering cheaper groceries in this city through a pilot program, that is unfathomable.
Quick, David, I have a right to respond to that.
Yes, quickly.
First, I did not.
I couldn't imagine being someone who is comforted by over-policing in public spaces. Honestly, I don't get it. And I understand that, like, some people find it, like, when I went with friends to New York, that was, like, I had some friends who were like, oh, that makes me feel safe. Because let me tell you, they're saying, oh, there's not enough police in New York. you go to New York and there are police everywhere. I'm not even joking. They are everywhere. They are everywhere. Okay. You see them everywhere, lined up on the street. They're everywhere. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, they're everywhere. Okay. Like they are everywhere. All right. It's not like, it's so funny to me that they keep saying, oh, we don't have enough. We don't have enough. We don't have enough. They're everywhere. Okay. And I did have a friend who was like, oh, I feel safe because they're everywhere. And I didn't say I didn't say anything. I should have said something, but I didn't say anything. I said nothing and I just kept walking. But like, I did not feel safe actually. Like I did not feel safe because they were literally everywhere. I don't like, that doesn't make me feel safe. That makes me feel very uncomfortable. Like cops make me extremely uncomfortable. And I don't understand why but there are people who see cops and automatically think that they're safe. And I don't get it. I don't understand it because I don't feel safe at all. I actually feel quite threatened. And I don't like, this is another story. I was in Miami and with some friends and we were walking and this cop was just like sitting there on his bike and he was saying hi and like, I didn't respond. Like all my friends are like hi and I just didn't respond. I just kept walking and he got mad and he was like, oh, so you don't want to respond or whatever. And I just kept walking and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't talk to cops. Like I don't talk to cops. Okay. Cause one, they scare me. Also, I just don't talk to them, but like they're terrifying. They're not fun. When I was younger, I did like talk back to cops and like I got stopped once and and like was kind of talking back to the cops, but that I was I was very young, and because I was a white girl, they didn't do anything, and they let me, like scream at them. They got mad and screamed at me back, but I was very privileged in that situation, but it was insane. It was insane, but yeah, no, cops do not make me feel comfortable. They make me feel very uncomfortable. Yeah, again, I have not had the best interactions with cops. Anyway, let's go.
During those lawsuits, that was brought
against
by
you.
the Attorney General, which I said was political.
Well, those
that's what
lawsuits were filed by
generated the
individual
legal fees.
women, and some of them have still been making their way through the courts this
Yes.
year. And
Yes, and I've been dropped from the cases.
Not all of them.
No,
Yeah.
he's lying.
And
He's
what
lying.
the Assemblyman doesn't say is all this money that he wants to pass, the one thing he did do is he voted for a pay raise for himself. They're the highest paid
We have to
Just
cover
as
legislators
a,
in
others.
the
as a
United
fact
States.
check, I did ask
And
the
he has
state
the worst
controller's
attendance
office this
record.
week. I did ask the state controller's office this week. The total was above 60 million, but just those sexual harassment cases to defend Governor Cuomo and his staff was about $21
Sorry, it was the
million.
sexual harassment
I
and
just want to
nursing
clarify
home.
because you said 60, but
All right,
on those
we-
cases it was 21.
okay.
Well, it
Thank
wasn't
you. We have
just-
to talk about
yeah.
quality of life in the city. Let's turn to everyday life in the city and some issues a mayor can directly impact. We start with a couple of questions about 311, the number New Yorkers call or text for non-emergency help. First off, have you ever called 311, and if so, for what? Mr. Mamdani?
I called 311 for issues with my heating in my apartment, and I've spoken to New Yorkers time and time again who are frustrated by the fact that they can track their Uber Eats block by block, but when they call 311 for them to come to their apartment, it's just a question of hoping and praying that they do. There's no actual appointment. That's something that we would change.
All right, Mr. Sliwa, have you ever called 311?
There used to be that song 911 is a joke by Public Enemy. 311 is a joke. You can call it over and over and over again, and
Have
you
you-
never get
have you
a
ever?
response.
Have you?
The analytics are when the operators talk to you,
Mr.
as I
Sliwa,
talk to them.
have you called?
Yes, I've called them many times and gotten
Okay.
no response.
Mr. Cuomo?
Most citizens I talk to
Okay.
on the subways and streets never get good
Thank you, Mr.
responses
Sliwa.
from
Looking for a short
311.
answer.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what 311 is, but that's kind of cool. I don't think we have that in St. Louis. I used to get harassed by cops as a teenager. Even if I wasn't raised to distrust them, I wouldn't like them. Yeah. No, honestly, because like, that's the thing is like, it's so funny because, my family, of course, is very pro-cop. And this is an argument I've had with them many, many times. And, I think the reason that it's kind of like, and I keep it's not exactly a parallel, but it's kind of like when like Israelis or pro-Israel people are always like, well, they, Palestinians hate Jewish people, they hate Israelis, they just hate them. And it's never like, okay, well, why would they hate them? They just say, oh, they're raised to hate them, they're raised to be anti-Semitic. But it's like, if you're getting bombed all the time and your whole family is getting murdered by the state of Israel, then like, yeah, I think you would probably hate them. Or the same thing with like, oh, all these other countries hate America, Latin America hates, or like people in like the South, in the in like Venezuela or wherever, they hate America. And it's like, yeah, no shit. If we keep meddling with their government, if we keep meddling with all their shit, of course they're gonna hate America. Like it's so weird that like that you don't understand why they would hate America. And I feel like it's kind of like a parallel with cops. It's like so many people have had bad interactions with cops, and to just think that people just hate them because they hate them is silly. No, people hate them because they have had bad experiences with them, and 9 times out of 10 they end up hurting the people that call them to help them. They don't end up usually helping a situation, and most times they escalate it. And so it's wild to me, and it's just because I think a lot of, particularly white people don't have a lot of interactions with the cops. And so not all white people, but I'm just saying, like, there are white people who have, and it's funny when more privileged white people have to interact with the cops, like those DUI videos, and they're like, well, I'm so-and-so, and they try to like get let go. And those are funny. But, there's a good amount of, people, particularly white people, who have not interacted in that way. And I will say, as a white person, when I have gotten pulled over, I have been let go when I probably shouldn't have. And so, have not gotten a ticket for something when I probably should have. And so having those interactions and like seeing how I've been treated in certain situations, and seeing how my friends who are people of color have been treated. Like, when I was in high school, like I went to high school in St. Louis, and I had a car, and I would drive me and my friends around. And the way, when we got stopped, the way I was treated compared to my friends was extremely different. And those situations opened my eyes, like, so entirely, completely. And no, people of color are treated horribly by the cops consistently. And like, I've seen it in real time. I've witnessed it with my own eyes. I've seen it. I've experienced it. Like, they treat people of color a million times worse than they treat white people. And it's like, and they stop them far more often. And even as a white person, I've had really bad experiences with them. So like, I forgot how we got here. Oh yeah, that's why people don't like them. Anyway, I've always seen the similarities between anti-Palestine and pro-police rhetoric. Yes, overwhelming force and abusing disadvantage. No, 100%. And a lot of our police actually get trained by the IDF. And I say this all the time when I talk about Cori Bush, but that's something Cori Bush has talked about, how the police, I know in St. Louis, use the same tactics and learned a lot of stuff from Israel. And so Palestinians actually helped a lot of from the IDF. And so Palestinians in St. Louis, Palestinian Americans would like help the Black Lives Matter protesters when it came to like tear gas and how to handle that and stuff like that. And so there is a lot of parallels, and it's way more connected than I think a lot of people like know. Although I think most people are seeing that now. But yeah, there's a lot of parallels. I have no idea who this old man is, but I like his grumpy demeanor. This is Curtis Lewa, okay? Curtis Lewa is a character. He usually wears a red beret, but he's not wearing it right now. He has a tan line. I don't know if you can see it, but he has a tan line. He started a vigilante group called the Guardian Angels, and famously Guardian Angels, live on Fox News, beat up these guys in the middle of New York because they were speaking Spanish, and they like committed a hate crime like live on Fox News. So yeah, it's he's a character. I will say though, he looks much better than Cuomo. He came out of this debate much better than Cuomo did. I feel like Cuomo and like Sliwa and Zoran did much better than Cuomo did. And they kind of teamed up against Cuomo because Cuomo just nobody likes him. He's just nobody likes him. Okay. If I recall correctly, they were planning on training IDF at Cop City, but I may be wrong. No, I think you're right that they were planning on bringing in, the IDF to use tactics and train them. I think you're right, actually. I think I remember hearing about that. I think they're trying to do a Cop City in St. Louis, too. I don't know. I feel like I've seen flyers around to stop it.
So, Mr. Cuomo?
I've heard a lot of complaints about 311, so I actually made a call to 311 myself to see if the complaints were bona fide. And I was dropped twice. Then they were going to send someone to help a homeless woman in distress,
All right.
and no one showed up.
You're all expressing frustration. Last year, 311 received 38 million contacts from New Yorkers, from calls to the website. Wanted to know if you had a sense across the 5 boroughs what the top 2 categories of complaints were. What do you think they were, Mr. Sliwa?
Potholes, constantly potholes. People's undercarriages ripped.
You remember that? Yeah, no, they literally committed Curtis Lewa and the Guardian Angels literally committed a hate crime live on Fox News. It's insane. It was insane. I remember when it happened and I was like, are you kidding me? What is happening right now? That's why it's like Curtis Lewa would not, I don't think he would fight back against Trump and ICE or anything like that. But yeah. Insane, really insane. He's a character, but he's really kooky, and it's funny because there's been times where he's actually defended Zoran over Cuomo because he really doesn't like Cuomo, and so it's actually kind of funny because he's not always super unreasonable. He says things that are reasonable because I think he is a real New Yorker and he really does care about New York, but it's just really, really funny because he is a character. He's an interesting one. He's
wearing alignments.
Second one, top 2?
Rats.
Okay.
Oh, the city is flooded with rats.
Mr. Cuomo, what do you think the top 2 complaints were?
Homeless and trash rats.
All right. Mr. Mamdani?
There was housing and noise.
Okay. So the answer is noise and illegal parking. And we're going to stick with quality of life. Rosarina?
That's right, and let's talk about noise candidates because they fall into these 2 categories. First of all is the residential one, that's the neighbors and the loud music. And the second one is the street or sidewalk, everything with the loud construction and workers outside. So, Mr. Cuomo, as mayor, what can you do to help the city that never sleeps get a little bit of rest, Mr. Cuomo?
Yeah, look, I think if the 311 system worked well, if there was actually contact with people, I think New Yorkers would get it. I think New Yorkers would be responsive. I think we have to change the ethos in this city, the ethic in this city. Right now it's toxic, it's divisive, everyone's angry at everyone. I think when we have public safety that's functional again, and New Yorkers are part of that system, I think they would be more cooperative than you think.
Thank you very much.
There's no proposal.
Mr. Sliwa, how would you quiet a little bit the city that never sleeps?
In the outer boroughs, I see problems all the time, quality of life issues.
Yeah, it is funny that it is kind of grounding to see the issues being noise and illegal parking. I think illegal parking is hilarious. Although again, I've gone to New York a few different times and trying to drive around there is insane, so I can understand why illegal parking would frustrate people because I'm sure people park in places that are insane and they have to try to drive through. But do you know who's the people who do it the most? I think it's the police. And it was either Cuomo or Eric Adams that has done it before too. Parked illegally. It is kind of funny.
18-wheel tractor trailers, RVs parked everywhere. Garbage that's not picked up and collected. In the city, we've seen trash cans taken away by the sanitation department, Jessica Tisch, when she was the commissioner. The quality of life has diminished noticeably. So naturally, people are going to revert to 311. But it's important that a mayor be able to provide services to all the people. And they believe if quality of life is diminished, the next stop is sell your house and leave the city. And my goal is to improve and not move.
Mr. Mamdani, your turn.
What we've seen is one of the biggest sources of noise in this city is from congestion. And with the implementation of congestion pricing, we've actually seen noise complaints drop in the congestion zone. And so I would continue to find ways to ensure that we have reduced congestion across the city. And one of the ways is by making the slowest buses in America ones that are fast and free, so that New Yorkers can not only live a life of excellent quality of life, but also be able to get around this city without having to worry if they have $2.90 or soon to be $3 in their pocket, which is already out of reach for 1 in 5 New Yorkers.
We have here the author of congestion pricing, and we have the apprentice of congestion pricing.
We might
and the only candidate who's opposed to congestion pricing.
No, but it's good. It's been good.
It's
been popular.
We need to move on, otherwise we might have to place a call to 311 about candidates going over there a lot of time. Okay, so we're going to move on to illegal parking plaques in many neighborhoods. Recently, Councilmember Lincoln Ressler released a study that found 450 vehicles parked illegally during the day in downtown Brooklyn, many with fake or government placards. That's just one snapshot of the city, but you hear similar complaints everywhere. So how would you fix this specific situation? You'll have 30 seconds. Mr. Slee, we'll begin with you.
Well, obviously, placards have been abused consistently. You have people who've created fake placards. Not only that, you have people with fake license plates, paper plates. There's all violations against the Department of Transportation rules and regulations of where you can park a vehicle. There's just no enforcement. And that's because we don't have police. We have these e-bikes going up and down. We have the motorbikes. They're not following rules and regulations. They should be licensed. They should have a way of being identified. This way, enforcement can take place because people are terrified walking out into the streets.
Mr. Mamdani, your plan for illegal parking?
We have to showcase that accountability is true, whether for New Yorkers who are just living in this city or those who are working for this city. And the violation of traffic laws are violations no matter who is doing it, and to show that that accountability is something my city government's actually going to pursue.
Okay, Mr. Cuomo.
On the quality of life, you're right, is very, very important. On the placards, I would make it simple. I would recall all the city placards and reissue only those that are bona fide, period.
I will say, this is a very New York centric thing. Sorry, that was loud. This tape is, no. I keep losing it. I keep getting it. I keep getting the tape up and then it goes back down, and now I gotta try to find it again. Oh God, this is annoying. Anyway, that's not the point. I stopped it because this is a very New York specific thing. But I will say one of my pet peeves in life, one of my biggest pet peeves in life is that paying for parking. I rarely pay for parking ever. It's my biggest pet peeve, and it's I'm very stubborn about it. And it's because my tax dollars go to pay for these streets. So it's ridiculous that I have to pay a third party and download an app to park in the street. I get so upset because it's like this all over the place. You got to pay Park Spot, whoever the hell. And it's why do they get to control our streets? Why? Okay, yes, here we go. Why is that okay? It's insane. I think it's ridiculous. And I hate it. And it makes me very upset. Why do I have to pay this company where I already pay taxes for this street, and now I have to pay a separate company to pay to park in this street? It's ridiculous. And if I don't pay to park in this, then they're gonna give me a ticket. It's insane. It's my biggest pet peeve in life, and I hate it. It bothers me to no end.
Day one. On the quality of life issues, the worst thing that could happen is if the Assemblyman's proposal for legalizing prostitution went through. That would be terrible for the quality of life. He also doesn't want to enforce misdemeanors.
We're getting to that,
That's
Mr.
assault, larceny, etc. That would
We're
be
going to have
terrible.
time to address that.
I want to be very clear. Not only have I never called for the legalization of prostitution, I'm not calling for that today either. And I also have never said anything about not enforcing misdemeanors. This is just yet another figment of Andrew Cuomo's imagination.
The DSA, which you give your part of your salary to, that's their position: abolish jails, no new carceral facilities, don't enforce misdemeanors. And you're on the bill in Albany as a sponsor to decriminalize prostitution.
The difference between myself and
that's
Andrew
not
Cuomo, of which
legalizing
there
it,
are
that's
many,
decriminalizing
is that
it,
there
which
is
it should
no
do.
one that is actually telling me what to do other than the 8.5 million people who call this city home. If
told
you
you
want
to-
my policies,
All right.
you'll find them on my website.
Who told you to legalize prostitution?
Okay, we actually have a question.
Andrew,
now
you
that
can't
we're-
escape this. You signed the law doing away with loitering for prostitution. That was the law put
Okay.
forward by Jesse
All right,
Ramos.
gentlemen,
you
not
what-
started the prostitution.
All right, gentlemen,
in
Mr.
East
Sliwa.
Elmhurst.
That's not
Mr. Sliwa, Mr.
Okay, I know this is like a controversial thing. Okay, sorry, that's gonna be really loud. Okay. It's gonna rain tomorrow, so I gotta put tape over my poster board. Anyway, sex work should be decriminalized. I think it should be completely legal. I think that there should be rules and regulations about it to keep everyone safe. I think to continue to push those people on the outskirts of society is putting them in a lot of danger and putting everyone in trouble. And I think that if it is decriminalized and they are able to do this, because this line of work is going to exist whether you make it illegal, legal, or whatever. And so at least there should be regulations around it. They should be unionized. So that way everyone in that situation can be safe. And that's what I think. So I think it's a great idea, and I think them trying to get him on it is really silly.
Jackson Heights and Flushing.
Mr. Sliwa, we have...
And you want to add to it,
You don't
which
know.
Mr.
diminishes
Sliwa.
the quality of life.
Mr. Sliwa, when I talk over you, nobody's hearing you, and we actually have a question on that. So we'll let Rosarina ask.
And for this question, candidates, we want to come to Queens, where we know that prostitution has been an ongoing complaint. Mayor Adams formed a task force and ordered sweeps by the NYPD. But the situation continues, especially around the very popular Roosevelt Avenue. As mayor, Mr. Mandani, how would you handle this situation? You have 30 seconds.
I want to first be clear that I am not, and nor have I ever called for the legalization of prostitution. And if you are happy with what's happening on Roosevelt Avenue, then you should vote for Andrew Cuomo, because his policy is to continue the exact same ones we've seen under Eric Adams. My policy is to actually take on sex trafficking, to have a zero tolerance for violence against women, and to follow the advice of district attorneys that we have here in New York City, the current Manhattan DA, the former Manhattan DA, the current Brooklyn DA, the former Manhattan DA having said that prosecuting women for prostitution is something that actually leads to less safety. And what we need to do is provide an economy
Mr.
of
Mamdani,
opportunity.
just a quick clarification. So no legalization, how about decriminalization?
I do not think that we should be prosecuting women who are struggling, who are currently being thrown in jail, and then being offered job opportunities. I think we should be actually providing those kinds of opportunities at the first point of interaction.
Mr. Cuomo, your turn.
Look, Bill de Blasio, the assemblyman is a mini-me BDB, okay? He's Bill de Blasio light. He proposed legalizing prostitution. He didn't get it, and he just told the cops, don't arrest any more prostitutes. There is a bill in Albany that he signed that says the prostitution, that a woman who is a prostitute, that would be decriminalized. That is what the bill says, and that's what he said, if you listen very carefully. That would take Roosevelt Avenue and explode it, because it would make it legal for prostitutes.
But real quick, how would you handle this situation?
You have to enforce the law. It's illegal. I went to Roosevelt Avenue. I talked to the store owners. I talked to the neighbors. I walked down Roosevelt Avenue with prostitutes there at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Your turn, Mr. Sliwa.
I've dealt with this back in the 80s and 90s in Hell's Kitchen in Chelsea, when they were overrun with open-air prostitution and Times Square. You don't go after the women. The women are the victims here. You lock up the Johns, you shame the Johns. You let everybody know about the Johns. The madams and the pimps need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And these absentee landlords who knowingly rent their rooms, there are apartments out for the use of prostitution. The Department of Buildings should come in, padlock the building, seize the building, because many of these landlords live in Delray, Florida. They did back in the 80s and 90s when we did it in Chelsea and Times Square and Hell's Kitchen. And they're doing it again, and there's no enforcement. That's why the prostitution
We're going to go to Sally now.
Thank you, David. We're going to talk a bit about experience and beliefs. We've covered a lot of ground tonight.
This man talks in riddles with the F. Mini me. Oh my God, he really does. Like, Curtis Lewa is so funny. There's going to be a part that comes up. I don't know when it comes up, but they talk about cannabis stores. And I've seen memes about it, and I'm so excited for whenever that comes up. I'm very excited. Because he also talks in a riddle that way. It's hilarious.
But we want to probe a bit deeper into each of your mindsets and how you'll approach governing as mayor. Mr. Cuomo, you have touted your experience on the campaign trail time and again, but you pretty squarely lost the Democratic primary to Mr. Mamdani, forcing you, a lifelong Democrat, to run as an independent. When you announced that decision, you said, quote, "When you get knocked down, learn the lesson and pick yourself back up." What lesson did you learn, and what do you feel it said about you, something you did wrong, something that you need to change about yourself?
Yeah, I think in the primary campaign, I did not do enough on social media, which is a very effective medium now. I think the Assemblyman did do a better job on TikTok and social media than I did during the campaign, and that has changed now.
This is like every Democrat, this is their new thing. They're like, we just need to do better on social media. And they don't understand that it's not about social media. It's about your message. It's about what you stand for. It's about your policies. It's not about what videos you can make. And they all get the wrong idea from Zoran winning. It's so insane. They're like, we just need to make more social media videos. Like, even Chuck Schumer made a social media video that wasn't horrible, okay? But it was like in the style of Zoran, and so it's so funny. I didn't do as good as the other guy. What did you do wrong? I didn't do as good as the other guy. I know. He doesn't like he doesn't make any introspection. He's not like rethinking anything. He's just like, well, I guess I just didn't do as good. Yeah, because you didn't try, man. Because you didn't try at all. Like, not at all. Like, he did nothing. He thought he would just win off his name.
I've also increased my activity significantly, but my agenda is exactly the same. I am the Democrat, although I'm not on the Democratic line. He is a Democratic socialist.
You're not the Democrat. You're not.
Liar. Didn't vote for Kamala Harris.
Yes, he did.
Fight and deliver is I will fight for people, I will fight the bureaucracy, and I will deliver results. New Yorkers need the mayor to get something done. This is all words and theories. I am a manager who can actually get things done. This is a question
about self-reflection. Is the thing you're reflecting on the most that you need to be on social media more? Was there any other deeper lesson that you learned?
Between the two campaigns, social media, more accessibility.
Okay.
I just have to say, it's been an hour and 20 minutes of this debate, and we haven't heard Governor Cuomo say the word affordability. That's why he lost the primary. That's why he'll lose the general election. And you can lie all you want, but the truth is, I voted for Kamala Harris. I'm the only candidate on this stage to have the endorsement of Kamala Harris, and I'm not the one who's funded by Bill Ackman, who called Kamala Harris unqualified to be the vice president of this country.
Okay, may I respond?
Yes, brief response, please.
There are a lot of New Yorkers who support me. And there are a lot of Jewish New Yorkers who support me because they think you're anti-Semitic. So it's not about Trump or Republican. It's
You're
about
the one who brought it up. You're the one who brought it up.
Do you think he's anti-Semitic, Mr. Cuomo?
I don't make those judgments about people. Are you a racist? Are you an anti-Semite? I know there are many Jewish people who believe he is anti-Semitic. I believe not condemning the globalized Intifada, what he has said about Hamas.
But Mr.
I can see where they are inflamed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I covered your speech in an Upper West Side synagogue where you said anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. There is no difference. And you were talking about Mr. Mamdani. Is that not an allegation?
No, I make that statement all the time. I wasn't referring to Mamdani.
Okay, all right. Mr. Mamdani, a brief response, and then we have to move on.
I have denounced Hamas again and again, and it will never be enough for Andrew Cuomo because what he is willing to say, even though not on this stage, is to call me, the first Muslim on the precipice of leading this city, a terrorist sympathizer, is to send mailers that artificially lengthen my beard, is to say to New Yorkers that they should be fearful.
Okay, Mr.
What I will do is
Melissa has a specific question
Mr.
for you.
You are the Democratic nominee, and you're also a member, as we've been discussing, of a political organization that may be less familiar to New Yorkers, the Democratic Socialists of America, which believes in dismantling capitalism.
Go DSA.
New York City is the global headquarters of the finance industry. So how would you be the mayor of Wall Street and the DSA? You have 1 minute.
I would be the mayor of this entire city, and that means ensuring that the wealth that we generate in this city is also wealth that every single New Yorker can actually feel in their pockets. Because what we have today is a system that has generated the most wealth in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, where 1 in 4 of our neighbors are living in poverty. That's unacceptable. We can't look at 500,000 kids hungry every single night as just the cost of doing business in this city. That's something we have to actually change. And I'm going to do that by fighting for my neighbors in Queens that I've come to know, who are not only the ones who own teapots and toy stores, who own diners and dry cleaners, but also the ones who work there. Because right now, all of them are being pushed out of this city by corporate greed, by private equity, and by a politics that refuses to fight for them.
Just a quick follow-up, Mr. Mamdani. A lot of Hispanic that flee socialism and are a little bit scared to hear your policies. What would you tell them?
Well, I would first say that I wouldn't be here without the support of Latino New Yorkers, because it was the majority of their support that helped to make me the Democratic nominee. And what democratic socialism means is a belief in the dignity of each and every New Yorker and the responsibility city government has to deliver that dignity. That's why I'm speaking about childcare, because it's pricing out New Yorkers from the city. That's why I'm speaking about freezing the rent, because housing isn't a human right in the way that we practice our politics in this city. And that's why I'm talking about making buses fast and free, because 1 in 5 New Yorkers are being priced out of public transit today.
Rosarina.
So, Mr. Slee, I would like to talk to you because you...
Thank you. Nice sign. Thank you. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Thank you. I appreciate it. It says get ice. It says ice out of our streets, and then it has like little melting ice cubes. I had to put tape around it because it's gonna rain tomorrow. Now I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna put tape around that. And I'm gonna not super glue it, hot glue it onto my sign. So I'm gonna put tape around this. But yeah, I think he's doing great. I love DSA, but I think he's doing great. I think a lot of people are not afraid of like the scary socialism thing anymore. I think some people are, but I think most people are not afraid of that, like the boogeyman socialism anymore. But I think he answered that in a great way, because it's like it's about performing for the community, not not Sharia law or whatever. Sharia law isn't even socialism, so that's why it's ridiculous that they say he wants to do Sharia law and then he's just like some commie. It's so stupid, but whatever. Mine's gonna say abolish ICE. Yes. I'm not good at writing though. My wife's gonna help me. Oh, I love that. I'm not very good at it either. I think it's okay, but if you can see like streets, it says ice out of our streets. The S is I kind of lost. I lost space there. I always do that. I'm that person, but yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun to make them. I thought it'd be fun to just have a fun little hangout and make signs, Yeah, that's awesome though. I love that. I love abolish ICE. That's great. I'm very excited for tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Yay. Okay, let's finish this. We have we're kind of almost done. It's a long debate.
You were here with us 4 years ago in the same stage for the general election debate, and you lost it. Why do you believe New York is ready to elect a Republican this time around?
First off, did I not warn you 4 years ago that Eric Adams would be corrupt and we would have chaos? Did I not? Of course I did. And I get praised for that. Now I'm trying to get people to vote for me, not just on the Republican line, but also my wife, Nancy, who was the best thing that's ever happened to me, created the first ever independent Protect Animals line, which calls for no-kill shelters and putting animal abusers in jail. But the other thing that differentiates me from both of my adversaries is that I am opposed to the city of yes, which will destroy the residential neighborhoods. Both of them are for the city of yes. So when you vote for me, whether on the Republican line or the Protect Animals line, turn your ballot over and vote no on all those initiative and referendums. Imagine, they've said, how can you, Curtis, a Republican, work with a Democratic majority in the council? Adrian Adams is in agreement with me. The Democratic city council people are in agreement with me. No to the city of yes, which will take your homes and provide you instead with lithium-ion battery warehouses next to your house, which are like mini Chernobyls. I'm the only candidate who is opposed to the city of yes.
I don't know what that means.
I have a quick follow to that, Mr. Sliwa. How do you bring down costs if you don't build more housing?
Oh, it's very simple to build housing. You just look in New York City. We have so many dense areas where you no longer can use the commercial space. They used to be office space. And you just convert it into residential housing. You don't need to go into the outer boroughs. You don't need to use wetlands and parklands, which they seek to do. If you build a new building, it takes 5 years. If you convert an
All right, Mr. Sliwa, thank you. We want to change the pace here a little bit.
I
want to change the pace and just get a sense of what you think about political leadership. We're curious about who you admire. Who is the best modern-day U.S. president? Mr. Cuomo?
Modern day? Well, I'm partial. I was Bill Clinton's Housing and Urban Development Secretary.
Ew, of course
you were. We built affordable housing all across the United States.
Of course you built Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Empowerment zones. I would say Bill Clinton.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani?
Ew.
I would say FDR.
Yes.
Mr. Sliwa?
Is modern day?
Modern.
Well, man, I'd say FDR also, but that's modern day.
Mr. Sliwa?
A man that ended up being loved by Democrats and Republicans alike, the greatest governor we've ever had in my lifetime, George Pataki.
Oh, I thought
3
he was gonna
terms,
say...
no chaos, no corruption.
I was asking.
And he actually beat
President.
the better
President.
father.
Mr. Sliwa, modern U.S.
This governor and this
modern
president.
U.S. president.
Who
you thought the best modern
best president in our lifetime?
Or
I would say the best president in our lifetime that I've experienced. I would go back to Ronald Reagan.
I knew he was going to say Ronald Reagan.
How about the best New York City mayor, Mr. Sliwa? Best New York City mayor, Mr.
Rudy Giuliani, who endorsed me last week.
Okay.
And I'd have a little bit of Michael Bloomberg thrown in because he liked
Mr.
the delegate
Mamdani?
responsibility.
I think the best New York City mayor of all time is Fiorello LaGuardia.
Mr. Cuomo?
Ooh,
It
who
was
was also
Bill de
socialist.
Blasio last debate.
No, I've always said Fiorello is the best mayor of all time.
Who's yours, Mr. Cuomo?
You guys,
Is it
you guys just keep comparing him to Bill de Blasio. No, I'm pretty sure I don't remember what he said last time actually, but but that other one, I think he did say that because he was saying the LaGuardia namesake because he was also a socialist. I know it is remarkable. He's an president. A little bit of levity. That was funny.
of all time or modern time?
Best New York City mayor in Europe.
Of all time, it is Fiorello LaGuardia.
We agree?
Recently, I would say Mayor Dinkins and Mayor Bloomberg.
Okay. How about the political leader, dead or alive, you most admire? Mr. Mamdani?
I would say I admire Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
Mr. Cuomo?
My father.
Mr. Sliwa?
I said it already, George Pataki, who is loved by Democrats and Republicans and the greatest mayor in our lifetime.
All right.
The greatest
Now,
governor in our
I just
lifetime.
have one more before Sally starts to ask you about schools. A show of hands. Who supports Kathy Hochul for re-election?
It's a decision that should be made after this general election.
So no
Woo!
decision. Mr. Cuomo, you handpicked her as your lieutenant governor.
That's a good answer.
No thought?
You have to know who's running.
Yeah. Okay, so
And I would add that I do think that Kathy Hochul, our governor, has been doing a good job in not only
Do you
serving
support her
and
for re-election?
delivering, not only delivering for New Yorkers, but also standing up to Donald Trump.
just what, do you support her for re-election?
Then endorse her.
I'm focusing on November.
Why don't you
And I
endorse her?
appreciate her
No,
support.
because he
and I
needs the
appreciate her work.
leverage. He
Thanks,
needs
Kennedy.
the leverage to endorse
How
her.
about
He
shout
needs that
out for
leverage.
Lee
We're gonna
Stefanik
turn
to
to-
take out Kathy Hochul. So
No.
you have a
Okay.
Republican
All right.
Mayor Curtis,
All right.
a Republican Governor
Thank you, gentlemen.
Stefanik,
Thank you.
like Giuliani
We want to
and
talk about
Pataki, who
schools.
saved this city
We want to
and
talk about
state.
schools. Sally?
Okay, thank you, David. Let's turn to education. There are a number of issues facing public schools. One that's been controversial in the campaign is the Gifted and Talented program, which offers accelerated instruction to elementary school children. Mr. Mamdani, you have said that you want to phase out the Gifted and Talented program, while Mr. Cuomo and Mr. Sliwa want to expand it. Mr. Sliwa, we will start with you. What is your plan for the program? You have 1 minute.
Gifted and talented.
Yes, gifted and talented.
I have two younger sons with Melinda Katz, the Queens DA. They both attempted to get into gifted and talented as 4-year-olds. They failed. It did not present a problem with their future education. We don't have enough slots. Right now, they're 1,900. We need to have at least 5,000 slots around the city. What they have not done at the Department of Education is make these tests available in Black and Hispanic communities. Okay. So, for instance, you have 77,000 children who are 4 years old. Only 10,000 have taken the test. Only 2,000 are accepted. Why not offer the test to all 77,000? And even if a gifted and talented class only has 3 or 4 in a minority school, give these children an opportunity to excel too. That would make it fair for everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Cuomo, how does your plan differ from Mr. Slee? As you also have 1 minute.
Okay, I'm going to plug in my
First, I support mayoral control. I think it would be a terrible mistake to roll back mayoral control. That's probably been the most dramatic educational reform in 40 years. We'd go back to the old system that had local school boards, which were corrupt, patronage mills, et cetera. So who runs the system is number one. I would expand gifted and talented programs, accessibility. I'd offer preparatory courses to any student, parent that wanted to take them. I'd double the number of specialized high schools from 9 to 18. And I would keep the SAT as it is.
Thank you. And Mr. Mondale.
Can I add one thing? There's been no discussion about vocational high schools, which save so many young men and women. We need to expand vocational training for those who are not going to achieve academic excellence. We're going to keep going here with Mr. Mamdani.
Why should the gifted and talented program be phased out, in your opinion? You have a minute to answer.
So I want to be very clear. I have spoken solely of gifted and talented for kindergartners. I do not believe that kindergartners should be subject to a singular assessment. I have not spoken of any gifted and talented programs older than for kindergarten. I'm solely speaking about kindergarten. And I believe that we should be delivering the best education across the country here in this city. We will do that by following through on the proposals I've put forward to hire 1,000 more teachers every single year through our community to classroom program. One that will ensure that we're providing each student, whether they be in high school or someone who is an adult looking to become a teacher, with $12,000 in tuition subsidies so that they can start to fulfill the 7,000 to 9,000 additional teachers we need so that we can actually deliver on the Class Size Reduction Act, which I was proud to pass in Albany, that will ensure that children and teachers actually have a manageable ratio in that classroom so that they can learn.
I love that because, okay, listen. I went to 2 different high schools. I think I've mentioned this before. I went to a high school in the county and I went to high school in the city. And even though the county was much more funded and they had better resources, it was so crowded that we had to literally have classes in trailers. We had trailers outside of our classroom, and we used to have classrooms in trailers. And we would have well over 30 people in a class. And I did not learn that way. It was not easy. It was very difficult for me. I even had a science teacher who was also the football coach who literally told the class on the first day that if you are not in football, if you are not a cheerleader, I will not learn your name. I will probably not learn your name. Literally said that to us, the whole entire class, on the first day of class. And so it's ridiculous. It's insane. And we should not be having coaches as teachers if they're not qualified. And if they're going to act like that. It is a really good answer. It's such a good answer. And, though the school that I went to in the city didn't have like, it was a performing arts school, but our guitars were falling apart. Our books were falling apart. And there was a stark difference between the two. But I will say the teachers who worked there were far more invested in the students and cared about us far more, like individually as individuals, far more than they did in the county. Like going to a school in the city, like the teachers there actually gave a shit. And really cared and really not all of them. There were a few that I had that were not great. I had one that said, if you don't go to church, you're going to hell, but but for the vast majority of them, they were really good. And there were some who were not, but the vast majority of them were really good. And so there's a lot of differences, and those class sizes were a lot smaller. So I think that was a great answer, and I love that answer. I'm not sure how Gifted and Talented works in New York, but here in Colorado, it was very dumb and a waste of time. Basically a club where you don't even learn anything, just do art projects. I was never in like a gifted program. It's really funny because I got like straight, I got really, like when I started going to school in the city, I started getting like straight A's. And I was like salutatorian, so I was like second in my class, which is so funny because now like in my adult life, I feel like I can't get anything done. And I don't know, it's like really funny. In my adult life, I feel like I struggle a lot, but apparently that's part of ADHD. Anyway, so, what was it? Oh, I was in AP classes, right? I failed every single, I wasn't able to get it as a college credit because I failed those tests. I'm horrible at test taking. So I failed all those AP tests. So I just did it for nothing. And it literally, like, AP classes, I just feel like it's, I don't know. Like, yeah, I feel like it is. It's just a club and it's just a waste of time. And, like, everybody should have that opportunity. And, I mean, maybe it's just because, like, I didn't get anything from it because I failed those tests. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's silly. I don't know. I understand why he's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have a gifted program, but especially for kindergartners, that's like, I mean, that really does sound like some type of like, I mean, I'm not like, I don't know, like some like white supremacist shit, right? Like some eugenics shit. Like that's what it feels like for kindergartners. That's insane. I feel. Yeah, that's too young. It's insane. Like, I feel like that's insane to be like, oh, you're a gifted child. Like, I mean, if they, I don't know. I feel like that's just some like eugenics shit. I really do. I really do.
Because today, that learning is being rendered impossible by the number of kids in that same classroom. It's time to make sure that number is lower.
Yeah. But you don't believe the mayor should run the system?
I've been critical of mayoral control because of the ways in which it's been used to take away the voice of parents, of educators, of students. And I think it's important that those same voices be a part of how we lead the system.
So are you for or against mayoral control?
I've been critical of it. I'm against mayoral control, and I think that there's an importance of developing something that actually enshrines all of those voices together.
Mr. Cuomo, you also tried to curtail it when Mayor de Blasio was mayor. But
I'm
we
sorry.
can go.
Did you hear what she said?
No.
I was saying you proposed a curtailment of mayoral control when Mayor de Blasio was mayor during
There's been multiple modifications of mayoral control.
But some proposed
I love that
curtailment
they
at your
keep
hand,
calling
so if
them
you're
out.
such a champion of it tonight,
No,
I think it's worth pointing
I never
out.
proposed reversing mayoral control.
No, shortening the duration of time he would have control of schools.
Yes, for renewal. The renewal
Mr. Mamdani,
period.
how much
Counter
control
to
of
what you're
schools,
saying.
Mr. Mamdani, how much control of schools would you be giving up? Is it just a sharing arrangement? I know you want to share with the districts and with parents, or would you be giving up full control? And is that an accountability problem if the buck doesn't stop with you?
I think the mayor needs to retain the accountability so that New Yorkers know exactly who they can come to when they have critiques. And I think we also have to develop a system where we don't have what we saw just recently, where you have hours and hours of parents and teachers and students testifying only to be overruled without any consideration by the panel on
Thank you.
education.
Mr.
that's
Mamdani, I have
called
to move
mayoral
on.
control.
Switching now, it's a question for all three of you, switching to students with learning challenges. Parents of students with dyslexia, ADHD, and autism are very well aware the fact that the school system in New York City is not doing enough to meet their children's educational needs. How will you help these parents and students? We know that Mayor Adams has expanded evaluations specifically for children with dyslexia. It was an issue close to his heart, but what would you do more broadly, Mr. Mamdani?
You know, I think some of the initiatives that Mayor Adams has launched, especially with this chancellor, have been showing positive signs, especially for literacy and for preparedness, especially as we're in a national crisis on reading and mathematical comprehension. And I think those are programs that should be furthered, should be invested in, all while also ensuring that we're giving teachers greater flexibility in the curriculum that they're actually teaching. Because what I've heard from many of those teachers is that too often the curriculum that's being procured in the $10 billion a year in DOE contracts is one that has little relation to the classroom.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Slewa, you have 30 seconds.
Yes. we have $41,000 that we're spending on each student now. By fourth grade, 2/3 of these children cannot read, write, or do math at grade level. We should be ashamed of ourselves with that. 100,000 less students than we had last year. 1/3 are truants. We have 200 schools with 200 students or less, and Michael Mulgrew determines which schools stay open. Eric Adams is not exhibiting mayoral control. The mayor should run the Board of Education, the old Board of Education that is now the Department of Education.
Okay.
The bureaucracy.
Time, Mr.
You have 13
Shleela.
deputy chancellors. You have 50 department
I had
heads
asked
that
about-
suck up all the money.
I was
and
asking
teachers
about
are still
students
reaching
with
into their
learning
pockets
differences.
to pay for
Even
badly
about
needed
teachers.
supplies for the children in the class. The money should be going to the
Mr. Shleela,
teachers
thank you.
and the
Okay.
children and young adults, and it's not.
Mr. Cuomo, what is your specific plan to deal with the challenges of students who have learning differences?
We are losing young families. When the child becomes of school age, they leave the city, they go to the suburbs, they go to New Jersey. They're not going to sacrifice their child on what they think is the secondary education system. The core competency, reading and math, below 50% is a disgrace. The gifted and talented programs gives people hope. I do believe Mayor Adams has made progress on the evaluations and services for children who require special needs and assistance, but obviously we have to do more.
So we have another question about improving schools. And in the last year, the schools enrolled more than 36,000 migrant students, many learning English for the first time. From class size to bilingual teachers, that puts a big strain in the system. Mr. Cuomo, what can you do to help migrant students, but also the staff? You have 30 seconds.
Well, first, I think it was wrong of the state to put so many migrants in New York City. New York City had the overwhelming majority of migrants.
He's not going to
But they
fight
already
back.
here.
He's not going
Close
to
to
fight back
about
and get
80%.
ice.
The state should have put them all across the state, Nassau, Suffolk, upstate, so other governments could have also.
Well, they were bused here from Texas,
And
right?
we have a
Yes,
situation
but if
right
they're
now.
bused from
They're here.
Texas, you could have brought some to Nassau, 20 miles,
Yeah, but they're here right now,
Westchester.
and we're asking
Yes.
about the current problem.
Yes, well,
Right,
that's how
you
the
don't care.
problem was created.
Okay, we understand
The
that.
state put them here, the state gave the city the bill. It has now increased the
Republican
challenge in
light.
our education
Republican
system.
light.
The state is going to have to help financially.
So you didn't answer the question, Mr. Mamdani, is your chance.
You know, when I spoke about our community to classroom program, the importance of it is not just bringing in 1,000 more teachers every year. It's also that we would bring in a number of more bilingual educators. Because what we've heard
Damn
from a
right.
number of adults who have taught in other countries, now live in New York City, is the process by which they get their certification approved to teach here is one that is onerous and one that is actually pricing many of them out. That's why this is a program that will directly address that, to increase that bilingual capacity in our school system so that we can teach every single child, no matter when they got here,
But
the public education
Mr.
they
Mamdani,
deserve.
this certification has been offered and it hasn't been successful. So how can you make more teachers to be, like they want to do this?
Part of what I've heard is that the tuition costs as part of the same certification exams are onerous for many of these adults looking to switch careers. That's why this program is built upon providing $12,000 in tuition assistance that would lead to 1,000 more teachers every year.
And also salaries will be a good.
We have not just migrant children, we have the children of the homeless, over 120,000. We haven't yet discussed charter schools, parochial schools that are closing. Normally, parochial schools would have been able to take some of these children. We need to expand the number of charter schools that are doing an amazing job, especially in the inner cities. And why not make that available to migrant children and to the homeless children who are coming from shelters all across the city, who need the special teaching skills that have lifted children in the charter schools? We need to give choice, because
We need to
that's our
fund
most
public
precious
schools.
resource, our children.
So allow me to now move on into the
I
sanctuary.
agree
They
on
take
the charter
resources
schools.
and money
Thank you,
from
Mr.
public
Cuomo.
schools.
So allow me now to enter into the sanctuary city situation, and let's talk about also undocumented immigrants. 26
Here we go.
Federal Plaza has become a flagship in federal immigration crackdown. We reported that asylum seekers are showing up for like those routine appointments, not facing any criminal challenges, and they end up being
Thank you.
deported.
Yes.
So by the show of hands, we would like to know if you believe that any of you could do something to stop this. Okay. So Mr. Cuomo, you have a minute to explain us what would you do?
The law is the law, and I would have an attorney assigned to every person who is undergoing any review by the federal government or any legal proceeding, and put the full weight of the city government behind it.
A lot of times they're not letting them get attorneys. Also, JB Pritzker, I think, is going to start. I think he's looking into arresting ICE agents, and I think a judge just ruled that they can, if I'm not mistaken. And so, I think that's the answer. I think we need to start arresting ICE agents. Because I think they're actually there was another, I don't know if they're the same judge or another judge, that actually asked the ICE agents who used tear gas to testify, because the judge ruled that they can't use tear gas and they did anyway. And so now that judge is asking them to testify. So we'll see where that goes.
And make sure they are legally protected.
Mr. Shlee, what was your plan?
Look, going after the criminals, that's the job of Immigration and Naturalization Service, ICE. But when they have to perform under a quota, because I speak to many of the men and women who serve this country, it's putting too much pressure to go outside of courthouses, to go Home Depot shape-ups, or the backs of restaurants and hospitality businesses, which have hired these migrants, and they are essential workers now. I can tell you, I have 3 sons. None of them are going to do that work. Some Americans will, but most won't. We need to protect the migrants who are workers, who are essential workers, and use ICE to go after the drug dealers, the gangbangers, the sexual predators, and those who are sex trafficking and involved in narco-terrorism.
Mr. Mamdani.
Now, I'd be proud to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations. Woo. And it's at 26 Federal Plaza that I've seen what used to be moments when New Yorkers would be getting their citizenship turn into moments of tragedy, where judges are asking New Yorkers who are there for a routine immigration check-in whether they're prepared to leave in the very same clothes that they arrived to that courthouse. I agree that we need more legal representation. I also think we need to actually be able to stand up to Donald Trump, because I heard from Pastor in East Flatbush, Pastor Galbraith, who told me how he accompanied a member of his congregation to 26 Federal Plaza. He sat there as a judge was determining her fate. They managed to convince the judge to replace the deportation order with a TPS order, but they knew that ICE would not care about that change, and they had to sprint her out of the building, smuggling her into the elevator in order to get her back to Brooklyn.
Thank you.
Candidates want to talk about New York City's economy and change the pace a little bit. Everyone supports growing New York City's economy. The mayor is our chief salesman to the business world. So we want to mix it up, test your persuasive power. So we're calling it an elevator pitch. And we'll start with you, Mr. Mamdani. In this scenario, imagine you're talking to the CEO of a big tech company, deciding to move its headquarters to New York City or to Dallas. The CEO is concerned New York just raised its corporate taxes and employees will pay more for everything. Look into the camera and make your pitch to that CEO to come here and not there. Do it in 30 seconds.
New York City has something that Dallas or no other city across this country could actually offer. And that is the quality of life. That is the arts and the culture. That is the people that make the city so special. And I, as the mayor of this city, will deliver that quality of life, will deliver the safety that is the cornerstone of an affordability agenda, and will ensure that companies choose to come to this city and also choose to stay in this city. Because so much of what drives the tech sector is a hunger for innovation, a unrepenting desire to actually innovate, and those are the very things that are going to characterize my city government in this.
But what do you say to the CEO about the corporate taxes and also the staggering costs for the workers?
We are going to make this city more affordable so that workers who want to work at those companies can actually be able to do so. And we're going to ensure that this city continues to be one where we see businesses opening and also staying open.
All right, thank you. Sally?
Mr. Cuomo, something of a reverse scenario for you. The CEO of a similar company with 1,000 good jobs tells you she's very close to moving her headquarters out of New York City. She cites everything from taxes to the crushing cost of living for her employees in New York City. How do you convince that CEO to stay? Please look into the camera and make your elevator pitch. You have 30 seconds.
We know that the other companies in New York City. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Curtis Lewa thought they were talking to him. Oh my God, that was hilarious. Okay, that was great. I enjoyed that. Man, Curtis Lewa really is funny. I don't like him much, but he is funny. He is kind of funny. He's hilarious.
The question is to me in this camera?
Yes, the question is how you would convince the CEO of a company with 1,000 good
It was
jobs
great. That was
who's looking
great.
to move out of New York City because of the high cost of living for her employees and taxes, how you would convince her to stay in New York City.
In 15 seconds?
30,
Okay.
30 seconds.
Okay. I get it. I understand your frustration. I understand that the far left has been raising taxes and making businesses feel like the enemy. We get it. That's gone. The DSA, the socialist orientation, we're not socialists. It didn't work in Venezuela, didn't work in Cuba, didn't work here. We know that.
Bro, do you think that Eric Adams has socialist policies right now? What are you saying? They're saying if you become mayor, what are you going to do? Do you think the policies in New York right now are socialist? What? Oh, God, he's so bad at this. Oh, my God, this is wild. This is so wild. Best debate. The only thing that would make this better is if Adams didn't try. Oh my God. That would have been so hilarious if Eric Adams was a part of this debate. Apparently, he's still going to be on the ballot, which I think is really funny. I didn't know that, but apparently he's still going to be on the ballot. Mondami debates a room full of clowns. Honestly, it is so funny because Zoran really comes out of this looking great, and Cuomo is just so unlikable. And Curtis Lewa, I think, came out of it better than like before, but I still think he's just like a funny, he's just like a character, that everyone's like, oh yeah, he's there's that red beret guy. He's kind of funny. He's kind of kooky.
We have to work with business. We want to be your partner. We want to have taxes that help us grow our city, but are competitive for you.
We're at time.
And we want to partner to grow your business and our city together.
Mr. Sliwa, let's talk about business, because let's assume the big tech company that we pitched to Mr. Mamdani earlier has decided to move to New York, and it's 1,000 good paying jobs, and the CEO wants to be based in Astoria, Queens. But there's a loud pushback of residents who don't want the noise and the traffic. How can you convince the residents to accept the new neighbor? You're speaking to a very powerful community. How can you convince them?
But we saw that with Amazon. Amazon wanted to come in, and AOC led the charge, and local elected officials to say no to Amazon. That was a big mistake.
No,
I would say this. Our companies are being recruited away by the day. We have young people who are going to school here who could fill their needs in these high-tech industries who also are being lured away. We need to cut their income taxes for 5 years. Tell them if you go to school here, graduate here, no income taxes for 5 years. It's an income tax holiday. And the most important thing, we have to be able to assure the executive that this will be a city where we don't lock up toothpaste any longer, but lock up the criminals who make it intolerable to have a good quality of life.
Thank you.
We need to move on to a subject that is...
Democratic Socialists of America that stopped Amazon and cost us 25,000 jobs. So
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. We need to move on to a crisis.
Amazon mistreats their workers all the time. So it should also be about the quality of the job as well. They should be union jobs, and Amazon is notorious for union busting. Anyway,
that is very important to a lot of voters, and that is people struggling with mental health problems. Roughly 500 times a day, someone calls 911 about an emotionally disturbed person. And in a limited number of those cases, when the person is not believed to be violent, social workers are dispatched instead of police. Mr. Mamdani, you want to do that on a much larger scale. We want to know, how will this work?
I thought it was a crazy fantasy.
When will you send police versus social workers? You have 1 minute.
We have a program here in New York City called Be Heard that is attempting to do this kind of work. But we've had a mayor who has ensured that it's been unsuccessful, to the extent that even when there was an assessment of about 60% of calls that could have been addressed by Be Heard instead of the NYPD, Be Heard was not actually responsive to it. And that's because we haven't had the political will to deliver on what is a crisis that affects so many New Yorkers, which is the mental health crisis. What my plan will do, an innovative plan of the Department of Community Safety, will take what has worked elsewhere in the country, a program in Eugene, Oregon, where they took 24,000 911 mental health calls out of the police department, they were able to respond to all but 311 without police assistance. When there is a concern for safety or of violence, absolutely, you would have the police there. But what we are doing today is actually ensuring that every single call is going to the police and not allowing them to do the work that they signed up to do.
How will you determine whether there is a concern for safety or violence? What is the line between the calls in which police will be dispatched and the calls to which social workers will be dispatched?
The line is also going to be one focused on violence and the threat of violence. And I also trust the operators who will be receiving those calls to make that determination, as they do every day today for so many emergency services.
And just two really quick points, please. There has been a lot of discussion that you would send social workers to domestic violence calls, which police are concerned about. So you're saying no, okay. And then the other question is, how can you be sure that a situation that does not sound violent when someone calls 911 does not become violent in the moment? Would police be assigned as backup?
I think what you do is you actually follow the experts that have shown us this can work when you're willing to ensure that you're trusting the mental health experts who have been doing this work elsewhere in the country, where they call for the police when they need the police, but their initial impulse when there's no violence in that call is to actually address the mental health at the heart of it.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa, you have encountered plenty of these types of situations in your decades of work with the Guardian Angels. So do you see this approach working?
He's harassed people and committed a hate crime.
You've helped out in situations.
So, Ron, boy, another fantasy that's not reality. Eugene, Oregon. Have you ever been to Eugene? I've been to Eugene. Come on, this is New York City. We have so many emotionally disturbed persons that are in need of help. I will tell you this, Andrew, you closed the mental health beds that were taking care of them. 40,000 when you came into office, down to 4,000 because of your cuts, which forced these people to live in the streets, in the parks, and the subways. These people.
I think it's funny how he keeps going after Cuomo, but that is so ridiculous. Why would you need to send cops just in case if you know it isn't a violent situation? Yeah, like I feel like in this country we just like send cops to handle everything. Like our first instinct is to like have the cops handle things, and I think people who maybe like, you know, like people who either don't have mental health issues or haven't experienced people with mental health issues, they think that like the cops are the answer to everything. But like I've had like, you know, I have mental health issues, but I have had people in my life who have had mental health issues and have actually gone to like a psychiatric ward and were in a hold and had to get like be in a rubber room and like everything like that. Like I know people like that. I've had people like that in my life. They're better now, but like you know, and it was a lot to go through. It was someone I was close with at the time. And, you know, I think at that point in time, the police was called on them. And luckily it didn't escalate. Luckily they didn't hurt that person, but like they could have. And I mean, I feel like in those situations when the person is not armed, when they don't have a weapon, to call the police 9 times out of 10 escalates the situation and puts the person in a mental health crisis more in danger. When you have people who are trained to help with mental health, that can help. They know how to de-escalate the situation. They know how to help those situations instead of escalating it by like shouting out orders and being, you know, I mean, they're not nice. They're usually not nice, which I don't think is helpful in those situations. So like, luckily the person I know like ended up like okay, but like there is a world where it could have not have gone okay because the cops are typically trigger happy and are more scared for their lives than they are worried about protecting the person that needs the help, you know? And luckily he was able to get mental health help and not like been sent to jail or something, you know? 'Cause that can happen sometimes too. And so I agree. I think like I don't think we should be sending cops in those situations because I think it escalates the situation 9 times out of 10. But in America, we're so conditioned to think that the cops are here to protect us or that they're here to help us, even though legally they don't have to protect us. And I say this all the time, and my family always gets really mad at me about it, but like legally they don't have to protect us. Like the Supreme Court decided that they don't have to protect us. They legally do not. And there are times when they don't at all. And I think a lot of people saw that, during Uvalde, but there are many times where they don't help, and they're supposed to help in situations, and they don't, because they're not worried, because a lot of times they're not worried about protecting the people who need the protection. And so, reaffirmed it multiple times too. Yeah. And so I just like, I don't know. We are very we're just so in this country. We just think cops we think everything is a nail and we have to be the hammer, and we just have to hammer everything down and use force with everything. And it hasn't worked. It's not working. And I think the only reason, I feel like the propaganda and the reason there's so much propaganda and propaganda around it, and I think it's because we have for-profit prisons and we have companies that use these prisons as slave labor, and Victoria's Secret being one of them. And the propaganda sold us because we just want to constantly put people in jail because people are making money off of it, and I think that's the root of it all. But it's disgusting. And people who have mental health problems should be able to get access to help and not be put in a dangerous situation when cops are involved. It's just it's not helpful.
Need to be removed. They need mental health care. We need to make our shelters safe. I've been in one-third of the 300 shelters run by the Department of Homeless Services.
They're not safe, and people I've known someone who's lived in a shelter, and the rules are insane. And it's hard to live life and have freedom when you live in a shelter. And then it's also the safety is an issue, and they do need to be safer 100%.
It's Darwinian there, survival of the fittest. If we can make our shelter system safe, we can get men and women who are homeless in there, especially veterans who we're not giving any attention to, who we put out at Ward's Island at 10 o'clock at night, release during the day, don't give any training, have them roam about, and obviously when you have nothing to do, you end up getting into trouble. Okay. This is a disastrous, homeless and emotionally disturbed plan that we have in New York City. And I'm the mayor that can change it because I deal with them every day in the streets, in the parks, and the city.
No. Listen, the Guardian Angels, like I said, they committed a hate crime live on Fox News. So I wouldn't trust him when he says that he knows how to handle it. Because I don't think he's going to handle it the way, I would want to handle it.
Okay, Mr. Cuomo, do you think that the NYPD handles these calls for emotionally disturbed people in distress well? Is there room for something in the middle?
Yeah, I think the Assemblyman deals in theory. There's an advantage when you actually have experience. I've run homeless programs. I ran the homeless programs for the federal government. I worked with cities all across the nation. When you get a call on a telephone about a mentally ill person who may be violent, it is a very dangerous situation. And I think you should have a mental health worker accompanied with a police officer, because these can be explosive situations. I have been in situations that seemed apparently calm and fine and then erupted into violence very quickly, and it got very dangerous very quickly. So I would have a social worker with a police officer and get the people off the streets. That's the humane thing, and get them the care they need. Not institutionalize 40,000 people again. We have supportive housing now, which is what we use, and forensic beds for people who need them.
Now, let me get this straight. A police officer is there first. He has to wait for the arrival of a mental health care worker.
No, I would send them as a team.
As a team, but that's not realistic. You're dealing with fantasy
Okay.
also.
All right.
The police officers are going to be the first one on the scene.
Okay.
And they're
Well, I
always
don't
going to have
agree
to
with him,
deal
but
with
I
it
think it's
first
funny
and
that he
foremost.
keeps going after
He says that he
Cuomo.
has experience running homeless programs. What he has experience doing is cutting funding for the very programs that prevented homelessness here in New York City. As the governor, he cut funding for the Advantage program, which was putting New Yorkers who had otherwise been in shelters, otherwise been homeless, into
Okay, Mr.
apartments.
Mamdani,
I
thank
met
you.
one
Mr.
of those
Okay,
New Yorkers.
Mr. Cuomo,
and
brief
she told me
response.
how that pushed her out on the
Thank you,
street.
Mr. Mamdani.
Go off.
Brief response, Mr.
He's
Cuomo.
talking about a program 14 years ago that was a pilot program that had a work requirement. It was very controversial. It was $65 million.
You're talking about Advantage, just so we know
the
what you're
Advantage
talking
program.
about? Okay.
It was 14 years ago, $65 million. I added billions to the homeless budget. Funded the homeless budget larger than any governor in history.
Okay.
He
okay,
cut
thank
that
you. We want to talk
program.
about.
He
all right.
cut that
Mr.
program.
Mamdani,
Homelessness
we have aired this-
skyrocketed
Mr.
after
Mamdani, we have aired this.
14 years ago.
All right.
It was during the
Okay, you
Bloomberg
still did
administration.
it.
And
You
yes.
still did
Okay.
it, man.
I want to ask you about climate change. As New York
Okay.
City confronts the impact of climate change, one issue already on the desk of the next mayor is Local Law 97. Passed in 2019, the law requires large buildings to gradually reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. That may require very expensive upgrades to buildings, which some landlords and co-op owners say they just simply can't afford. We're wondering how each of you would enforce the law. You have 30 seconds. Mr. Cuomo.
Local Law 97, I support. Implementing the law is going to be the key because it has to be done in a way that isn't so disruptive to businesses and residences that they just give up and pay the fine and don't even try to comply, which is what is going to happen now. It will be cheaper for them to pay the fine than comply. And that obviously will accomplish nothing. So yes, I support the law. Yes, we have to implement it, but we have to implement it in a way that is feasible.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Sliwa?
Local 97 will destroy those people who have invested in co-ops
Of course
and
he's
condos.
against
There's
it.
100,000.
I don't even know
it's
what it is, so I
forcing them
can't say
to
anything.
electrify. Now, you, Andrew Cuomo, took Indian Point offline, 25% of our electrical capacity with no replacement, which has caused skyrocketing electricity bills. And now we're going to force condo and co-op owners to electrify.
I don't think that's the only reason they're
Maintenance-
skyrocketing bills. The data centers have been skyrocketing bills also, and I know I think there are data centers in New York because that was during the data center town hall meeting here in St. Louis. Someone mentioned that as like why New York is such a great city is because they have data centers, and I remember being like, I don't think that's why New York is a great city, but okay, sure, go off, man. It's insane. So I think a lot of it is also the data centers, but okay.
Fees will go up 30%. These people will be leaving their condos and co-ops. They need relief. When I'm mayor, I slow that process down. We need our co-op owners
Thank you,
and,
Mr. Sliwa.
and condo owners to
Can I-
stay
Thank
here
you.
in New York City and not flee.
Briefly.
Indian Point? Yeah. Indian Point was started before me. It was a very dangerous situation. We have nuclear facilities upstate, and my proposal and what I did is run cables from the nuclear facilities upstate to bring the power to downstate. Indian Point had 20 million people in the kill zone.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Mamdani, Local Law 97, how would you enforce the law as mayor?
I support the law, and I would also make it easier for condo and co-op owners to comply with the law, because what I've heard
There you
from so
go.
many is that it's cheaper to pay the fine than to actually get into compliance. And I think the
Yeah.
city has a role here in procurement at a large scale of so much of what is necessary in these infrastructure investments. We've seen it be done in the Clean Energy Challenge within NYCHA. It's time to do it right here in New York City to assist those condo and co-op owners in meeting the standards we desperately need to hit.
Okay, gentlemen, New York City loves its parades, and the mayor is often front and center. You have all said that you want to be mayor for all New Yorkers. So will you march in all the parades that mayors have traditionally marched in, or are there any that you would boycott? Mr. Sliwa?
I think a mayor has a responsibility, whenever possible, to march in parades, to celebrate whatever that parade.
I was gonna say, is he gonna say the Pride Parade? He won't do the Pride Parade. That's what I can see. We'll see what he says.
Is performing it. I've been a Grand Marshal of the Pulaski Day Parade. I was proud to
Are
celebrate
there
my
any that you
Polish
would
heritage.
boycott, though? I just need to move this along.
Excuse me?
Would you boycott any of the city's parades?
No, I would not boycott any parades.
Mr.
It's the mayor's
Cuomo, would you
responsibility
boycott?
to be
Okay.
available to all racial, ethnic,
No, I
and
wouldn't.
religious groups.
No, I wouldn't unless they discriminated.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani.
There are many parades that I would not be attending because I'd be focusing on the work of leading this city.
Ooh,
Which-
ooh, 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 ooh. Because I'm sure there was like police parades and stuff like that. Ooh, I liked that answer. Apparently, it wasn't. He was just at a parade. I think. I think maybe today I saw a video.
Which parades?
A
Would you
number
not
of
be
them.
going?
I've already missed a number of those parades because I've been
Well,
trying
could you
to
tell us?
speak
Yeah,
to as
with
many
our
New Yorkers as
audience here.
possible.
Okay.
I don't have the list of all the parades I've missed.
Wow, that's a
All right.
lot.
Oh, I love this. That was a funny question too, and I love how he just keeps smiling. Like he doesn't even let it bother him. He just keeps smiling. He's like, "Nope, I'm just gonna do the work for New York City." It's like the Israel question all over again.
There-
Mayor
let me
should
ask
be
you
going to
this.
all parades.
Let me ask you this. Are there any parades that don't exist that you think should? Mr. Mamdani?
I haven't thought much about parades, to be honest.
Mr. Cuomo?
I have
It is a weird question. I have never heard this asked ever. It is a very strange question. Does New York really care that much about their parades? I mean, I watch the Thanksgiving parade every year with my dad. It's like we don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, but like we do watch the parade every year together. It's like a tradition. I hear an East Coast accent. I think boomer. Stage full of boomers except for Zoran. It's just so funny. Like, what parade are you gonna be in? I don't know, man. Why does that matter? What are you saying? What parade should we have? I don't know. These are weird questions.
not thought. I don't even know what parade doesn't exist, frankly.
Could be for anything. Mr. Sliwa?
So stupid.
Every parade has the right to exist in New York City. I would ask you,
David? Thank you.
Mr. Mondani,
Thank
would you protect the Christopher Columbus statues that exist here in the city?
I'm
No.
telling you, my focus is on affordability. I'm not thinking about
Well, you're not
statues.
answering the
All right.
question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
He
You're not answering
he
the question.
gave the finger to the Columbus Day
That
statue.
issue's come up.
He gave the finger to the Columbus Day statue. Oh my god. It's so funny. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I actually think that makes him look good, honestly. Like this is such a funny thing to be mad at. You don't like Christopher Columbus. Yeah, I think most people don't. I think most people don't give a fuck about Christopher Columbus. Like, come on, man. This is so stupid. So great, yeah. Oh, damn, nobody cared about that question. Yeah, it was a stupid question. Like, what parades do you want to exist? What does this have to do with anything? This is so silly.
That's what we
Early in
call
the
a
debate. All right, Danny.
disgraziado.
Listen, we're in the last couple of minutes, and we thought
know what
we'd
that
have
means?
some questions.
Do you know what that means? No, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Stop defending Christopher Columbus. He was a horrible person. Why are we still having this conversation? He wasn't even American. Why are we still having this conversation? This is so ridiculous.
We thought we'd have some questions that maybe give a glimpse into your life, your personality away.
Okay, I'm really excited for this part because this is the part I remember. Yo, you flipped a bird to Chris. It's just so insane. It's just so insane. Columbus was lost. He was lost. And he's not American. He's never stepped foot in what we know as America today. Like, nobody liked him in his own time period. Why are we doing this? Why do we keep doing this? It's really ridiculous. It's like so stupid that this is a point of contention and that we're still having this debate. It's so stupid. God. And it's because of how we teach it in schools in America. Because the way we teach it, I feel like you would think Christopher Columbus went to America. He didn't. Our school systems have failed us. He thought South America was India. Exactly. This man wasn't some like genius. He wasn't some like genius explorer, okay? He was a genocidal freak who nobody even liked in that time period. So what are we doing? It's so stupid. It's just like this Indigenous Day, I mentioned this earlier, but I watched tons of documentaries. I wanted to learn, and that's what I spent my day doing. And the more I learned about Christopher Columbus, the more angry I got, and the more this whole ordeal is just so insane to me, because I'm like, why are we even having this debate? I feel like it's a mute point. It's so stupid.
From the political podium, what's your go-to breakfast order at the bodega, Mr. Sliwa?
Oh, eggs and cheese on a roll. No salt, please.
Mr. Cuomo?
Same thing, no salt also.
Mr. Mamdani?
Egg and cheese on a roll with jalapenos.
Ooh, I like that one.
Have you ever purchased anything in a cannabis shop? And if
This is my favorite one. This is the one I've been seeing memes about. So they're asking if they've ever bought anything in a cannabis shop.
so, what did you buy, Mr. Mamdani?
I have. I have purchased marijuana at a legal cannabis shop.
Okay. Mr. Cuomo?
No.
Mr. Sliwa?
When I was shot 5 times, I've had Crohn's disease. I did use medical marijuana. Yes.
Okay. In a dream...
That's why this is a meme, because it's so funny. Because like you could tell that like Zoran was like, yes, I have, and he was just like kind of shy about it, and then Cuomo was just like, no, and then Curtis Limo, like every other answer in this whole entire debate is like, well, I was shot 5 times. Well, this time in New York, and I feel like this question just like it just like perfectly showed like this was a great question because it did perfectly show their personalities. It's my favorite question. When I was shot 5 times and had Crohn's disease. Shot 5 times. People hate you, honestly. Oh my god, it's so funny. Oh god, I've been seeing memes about that all day. It's so funny.
Scenario, we know it's not possible, but the Mets are playing Game 7 of the World Series on the same night as the Knicks are playing Game 7 of the NBA Championship, and you can only go to one. Which one will it be, Mr.
Okay,
Sleep?
I don't care about this question.
Again, which baseball team?
This is the Mets, Game 7, Knicks, Game 7.
I'm not going to the Mets game. I'm a Yankee fan. True baseball fans either like one or the other. I'm going to the Knicks game. That's my team, the Knicks.
Mr. Cuomo?
I'm going to go half and half. I can make it back and forth.
All right. Mr. Mamdani?
This is what New Yorkers are sick of. Just pick a team.
What's
Come on.
your answer?
I'd be there for the Knicks.
Okay. Well,
I loved how Zoran responded to that. He was like, oh, you can't even think. I don't know. I don't do sports.
there's a lot of ground covered. We'll leave it on that light note. Thank you, candidates.
Yeah,
for
that
a
was
spirited
good. That was a
debate.
long
We
debate,
you as
man.
well. We hope you got a lot out of it. New York City viewers, New York City voters. The New York City Campaign Finance Board, we thank heartily, and we urge you to check out their website.
Okay, that was good. That was fun. I liked that. Yankees lose the Yankees. He's white 50s. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay, that was really funny. That was really fun. Okay, actually, I was gonna end it, but then I thought of something, and I'm like, maybe I should do it real quick. So, let me find this. Walter Masterson. Okay, Walter Masterson just protested Cuomo, and it was really funny. So we should watch that. Yeah, here it is. This is really funny. Okay, so this is gonna be the last thing we watch.
Cuomo does something.
Okay, this is gonna be the last thing we watch because it's been long, but it's been really fun. He didn't duck. But before we watch this, I finished my sign. So I don't know if you guys made signs or not, but I finished my sign and it says "Ice out of our streets" and it has like melting ice, and then I put tape all around it. because it's gonna rain tomorrow. But yes, this is my finished sign. Yay! I'm very excited for tomorrow. Are you all going? You should go. I know everyone's been like debating if they're gonna go and stuff like that. I'm not signing up. Don't sign up. I wouldn't sign up. But I'm definitely gonna go, and I definitely think it'll be good to go. And you know, I think it's a good thing. I know there's a lot of debate around it, but I think it's a good thing to go to the protest tomorrow. So I'm gonna go, and I'm very excited. And that's my sign. So yay! I hope you guys are going too. All right, so this is gonna be the last thing we'll watch because it's been like 3 hours. This has been really fun though. I enjoy this like hangout. No ice, hell yeah. Yeah, no, I've been enjoying this. This is fun. This hangout has been fun. But yeah, let's watch this real quick because this is hilarious. So I think it's climate action. Who is it? I think there was climate action. I forget the specific group, but they went to protest him today. Not today, but a couple days ago, and this is a hilarious video.
Without consent, but this time it's at a school.
That you're going to represent the working class because you take money from the Walmart family?
Andrew Cuomo, I will support you if you are an oil exit. You want to talk about the 13th sexual harassment?
Shutting down Cuomo's press conference.
People are leaving the city. The city is hemorrhaging young families. Why do young families leave? Because they're looking for a better education for their children.
Cuomo, I have an email from the Department of Education that says...
Wait, did you see that sign? It said Stop de Blasio 2.0. They're really going in on this whole he's a mini de Blasio thing.
You did not get permission to use this school. So once again, Cuomo does something without consent, but this time it's at a school.
Cuomo can't even pretend to care about students after spending $1 billion in school funding while giving his millionaire friends a tax break. He is the right way after accepting $113,000 from the... You have a child?
Also, it's really funny because, like, these people are putting up all these signs, and it's like, they're not even... I don't know why they have signs behind. They're like, they're the paid protesters. They're the ones who are paid to be there. Oh, my God. This is so funny. He's like...
This is what Zoran Mandami does. These are his tactics.
That you're going to represent the working class because you take money from the Walmart family, the Murdochs, right? The CEO of Home Depot. Fighting for us all the time. Ken Griffin, who owns all the penthouses in Manhattan. You tell him you say hello when you lose, right? You'll have plenty of time to do that because you represent billionaires and oil interests, and that is it.
Okay, I was like, I want to get to this part. I just want to watch this part. I want to get to this part where there's a guy and he's impersonating him, and it is the funniest shit ever. He sounds exactly like him.
Cuomo, I am the real Andrew Cuomo. And if you are a billionaire, I will support your rights. I will support you. If you are an oil exit, I will support you. No matter what.
He sounds just like him. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. This is so funny. I love Walter Masterson. I know that's not Walter Masterson, but like I love Walter Masterson so much. I love watching these videos where he disrupts people. He's just the best at it. He just did this one for another climate protest. He's great. God, I love Walter.
This then trying to stop people from hearing the truth.
I will not take no for an answer, Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Cuomo, you want to talk about how you created a fracked gas pipeline in New York City? You want to talk about how you stopped climate legislation?
You want to talk about the 13th sexual harassment?
Harassing Asian families.
She's getting in my face. Mr.
Dude, they are protesting. They are not harassing you. They are protesting Cuomo.
The joke is over.
The joke has only begun.
You're making everyone here feel uncomfortable.
I am Cuomo. I know I make people feel uncomfortable. That is my entire brand.
That is my entire brand.
That is my brand.
Don't approach.
That is my brand.
Don't approach us.
They're my supporters.
No, they're not.
He said you're making people feel uncomfortable. He's like, I am Cuomo. That is my brand. Everything's fine. I know. Oh God, this is so funny.
He is the fear candidate. He is an opportunist. When has he shown up?
He is an opportunist. He's a nepo baby
When has he shown up?
who thought he could win on his name and he didn't.
He has never shown up for public school parents. My own supporters betray me in front of everyone. My very own supporters, they all betray me. We'll see who the real ones are.
Ashlee, get out of here. This is our
Oh my God, there's so many of them. There's so many of them. It's kind of insane. They just keep popping up everywhere.
So what is happening in our country? You not talking to Donald Trump?
I love this.
Like Donald Trump saying he was not making plans with Project 2025. This is a consolidated effort to take over our country, and this man is working for
Pure
that.
chaos.
Our planet is collapsing.
Pure chaos. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, the last part this is the last part we're going to watch because this is really funny. I don't want to watch this whole video because you should go watch it. It's really good.
It's the email from the Department of Education saying they don't have permission to be in front of the school or inside the school. Yeah! Homosexual! You can Google it. Just Google it as one word, not 2 words.
Oh my God. It's so funny. This whole video is so hilarious. You should watch all of it because it's one of the funniest videos I've seen in such a long time. And that guy who was doing the Cuomo voice did amazing. But I am going to end it there. Thank you so much for spending your Friday with me. This has been really fun. And yeah, I hope everyone goes out to the No Kings rally tomorrow. Be safe. The No Kings protest rally, whatever you want to call it. Just be safe. Please go out, meet people. I've been meaning to join DSA. I need to join DSA. And very fun. Thank you for have fun protesting. Thank you. Yes, I'm glad you had fun. Yes, I hope everyone has fun, and I hope everyone I hope everyone has fun, and I hope everyone stays safe, and have a great day tomorrow. And yeah, see you there. Yes, see you there. Good night and good luck tomorrow at the parade. I know some people are calling it parade. I get it. I understand. I know why. But I think it's good. I think it's good to go out and show dissent. Peace all. Yes, peace all. I love you all. Thank you so much for coming here and spending your Friday with me. And yes, love you all. Good night. Have a good day tomorrow. Yes, before I leave, before I forget, I want to say thank you to my members, Troy Roberto, Crystal Safira, Creflo. Love you all. Love everyone that's here. And yes, have a good night. And I will see you not on Sunday because my friend's in town, but I will see you on Wednesday. I'll see you next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes, love you all. And yes, I'll see you then. Bye.